Gaming news today is all about disappointment. First, Monster Hunter Wilds review scores are soaring, and it likely is contention for a Game of the Year nomination already, but performance woes and quality issues are once again cropping up for a Capcom game. Second, another change is coming for Xbox Game Pass, and some fans may not like this purchase option update, and it could signal more changes coming after April of this year. We'll look at the details. Third, Ubisoft has officially responded to the fact that physical copies of Assassin's Creed Shadows are already in the wild, so be careful out there. Spoilers are cropping up. Fourth, another live service game is shutting down completely, and this one feels almost entirely self-inflicted. Lastly, a game for your wish list and your radar that may be adding a new mechanic. Now, if you've never seen my show before and you like gaming news and live discussions, but you also like a safe for work broadcast, make sure you hit subscribe and the bell button. If you've been subscribed for a long time, make sure your bell button is set to all. Some people's got set to personalized. And if you want to support the channel directly, click that join button and be sure to pick Member Plus. You get into the other side of the channel and the behind the scenes extra content. So let's start with Monster Hunter Wilds, and I do have some new information for you this morning, as Digital Foundry actually finally posted this morning their PS5 Pro breakdown. It is basically holding a 90 right now on Metacritic, and it is likely headed for a Game of the Year nomination, but it comes with some performance woes. Muddy and blurry image quality is showing up once again on consoles, and Steam Deck testers are saying that the game is basically unplayable on the Steam Deck. Digital Foundry said that the game has decent visuals, but it is unexpectedly heavy on the consoles. Now, the PS5 Pro breakdown sounds a little bit better, but not quite where you'd want to see it, given the PS5 Pro's promises. Now, I warned console fans that the performance mode would potentially not be the best, as it's using FSR1 for the upscaling. That was notoriously criticized for its usage in Final Fantasy XVI, and it makes things look not that great, not very crisp, and not very clear. Now, NVIDIA cards are using DLSS on PC, and it's been reported to get good results. So we're going to have to wait and see for the PC breakdown from Digital Foundry, but their PS5 Pro breakdown video pretty much confirmed everything that I thought was going to happen. Image quality is noticeably cleaner and clearer on the Pro. 60 FPS is far more consistent. The dips are infrequent in the performance mode. However, the base PS5, the dips on performance mode are harder and more frequent. Resolution mode was also better on the Pro, and it was a clear win for the PS5 Pro according to Digital Foundry. In general, the game has a softer look overall, but it looks cleaner and less jagged and muddy and sort of blurry on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Ollie from Digital Foundry actually liked the FPS mode more, which he seemed to be a bit shocked by that, especially the lack of ray tracing and reflections don't matter quite as much. The game is very arid, so those extra nice reflections and lighting on the water, it did look better in the resolution mode. He actually said the balance mode was competing, as it did have a sharper look and performance was not too inconsistent. He actually blamed the game for being heavy as to why you're not getting the best performance on the consoles. He said that the PS5 Pro performance is what people probably expected from their base PS5s, which he says is not very exciting, but it makes the Pro the console to be on for Monster Hunter Wilds. So this was a concern I had. I figured PSSR would be better than FSR1. You're not really competing with much there. FSR1's not that great. And we knew that the game was already experiencing some issues. So everybody's sort of hoping that they could, update the game and fix this problem so that those on Xbox Series X and the base PS5 could have a very good performance and a very good and consistent experience, and then the PS5 Pro could soar a little bit higher. Right now, the PS5 Pro is the place to be because the game is so heavy. It's the one that's chunking out the actual more consistent performance. So as I said, gaming news today is all about disappointment, and apparently there are some changes headed to Game Pass. Windows Central reported the following: Xbox Game Pass is going to be harder to pay for with Microsoft rewards from April. on, it seems. And this is the message that users are receiving. We wanted to let you know that we will be discontinuing Microsoft Rewards auto-redeem subscriptions for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, Xbox Game Pass Core, and PC Game Pass on April the 20th of 2025. This change is due to a recent increase in Microsoft Rewards points needed for Xbox Game Pass subscriptions purchased with reward points. You can still use auto-redeem subscriptions for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, Xbox Game Pass Core, and PC Game Pass, but you will need to renew your subscription by selecting the new Rewards auto-redeem option. So this is essentially like a price change, like it's going to require more points to buy with the rewards. Strangely absent from the list is like the standard Xbox Game Pass. Now this could be in an effort to get folks off of that, as Day and Date moved to Ultimate around the exact same time they increased the price of Ultimate. You do need to keep that tier going if you want to be grandfathered on console and keep Day and Date without the need to be at the Ultimate tier. Now we'll see how this develops after April, if this is basically a signal of more changes coming, as they're now saying it's going to require more points than previous if you want to do it. They're still going to let you auto-redeem, but you're going to need to go in and reinitiate that setting. Now, AC Shadows, sadly another piece of disappointing gaming news. The entire game has allegedly leaked. Retail copies ended up in the public early. Now, it's obviously missing a lot of updates and patches because the version on the disc is very much not the version that will be shipping at the end of March, which is an entire month away. But the things I read, people were actually enjoying it, and I saw positive feedback. I'm not going to put any spoilers in this content, obviously. Ubisoft did address this publicly. They said they are working on patches and that much of the footage online, they actually said that any of the footage seen online does not represent the final quality of the game. They then encouraged folks to ignore spoilers and that March 20th will be here soon. So always a bummer to see this sort of thing happen. A lot of people have had this game dead in their sights from the very beginning of seeing Yasuke having a lead actor, Samurai, be a black man has been the cause of much consternation, lies, grifting, dishonesty, and just outright hate. I've been cheering for the game since the beginning. I think it looks great. The pre-orders have actually been strong. They're pacing in line with Odyssey, which is the second most successful commercial Assassin's Creed in existence. I happen to think that the general public probably doesn't care a lot about the grifting nonsense and the liars on YouTube, so I think the game's probably going to do just fine commercially, but we all know what those early leaks and spoilers can do sometimes. It can lead to a lot more obfuscation and dishonesty and misrepresentation of the product. We've seen this before. Hopefully it's not too big of a deal. Now, I had a trailer for you. Here we go, for Dauntless. This is our next story. So basically, another live service game is shutting down. After a huge game-changing and somewhat game-wiping update, Dauntless had an enormous drop in both their player numbers as well as their user score and user reception. Unfortunately, what they did was they basically ran all of their remaining players off for the most part and really didn't pull in anybody new, not enough to replace the people that left. And they just announced that the game will officially shut down on May 29th of this year. So if you are still playing or you were wanting to jump in and play, it's probably best not to bother. This is one of the risks with live service games. When you try to have a massive 2.0 moment or turnaround moment, it can certainly backfire. And then obviously when live service games shut down, everything sort of goes with it. So sadly, those of you that were enjoying Dauntless, which was basically like a more casual approach to a Monster Hunter game, it is going away in May of this year. And last but certainly not least, I have a game for your wish list and your radar, and I uploaded a video about this last night. If you haven't checked it out, go give that video some love. The Liza P. Overture story trailer hit yesterday during the ID at Xbox event with IGN, and the trailer, I think, is hinting at a new mechanic. Now, the new mechanic could just be an NPC companion, maybe a summonable NPC companion, or it could be co-op. It seems to me that it's another player, given the very final frame of the video shows two players, I think, heading towards a new area, and they both have lanterns on their hips. I've been told that the lore of the game establishes why that lantern would be there, but they both have one. So again, I'm not really quite sure what they're trying to communicate here. It could, again, just be a new mechanic, and you can actually have this other person fighting with you. I mean, they quite literally show the two of them fighting together in this scene right here. and working in a very similar fashion. This doesn't look like to me like the summonables that you would do in the base game of Lies of P. So we do not have any info. They have not dropped a blog or anything. We know there are like new attacks, there's new weapons, there's this new, experience. It is a prequel. We don't know if there's going to be any new mechanics either, but that last shot there to me, I think could be signaling that. I'm not the only one that thought that. I saw a lot of people leaving comments on, the YouTube videos as well as Twitter saying, are they, softly announcing co-op? So we will see what that is. Just a little bit of a recap. Monster Hunter Wilds reviews are soaring and probably likely to get the game a Game of the Year nomination, but the performance woes are there, and some changes are coming to Game Pass. AC Shadows has leaked practically entirely because the game hit retail versions in people's hands a little early, and a live service game is shutting down. So that's the news. Now it's time for the discussion. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys for your patience this morning. I had like a little dad thing this morning. Once a year, the kiddos do this thing where the dads come and they celebrate their dads, and they have drawings and pictures of us, and it was really, really fun. I came in second place for dad joke. They voted on dad jokes that we submitted, and I got second place with my joke, and Discord's muted. Oh, sorry, Discord. Let's unmute you there. Sorry. Good morning to everybody who's here, and I gotta thank some people here. Han shot first, and so did you. First gifted member of the day comes in from Joker Quinn. That gets us to 83, but then we're gonna jump to 84 thanks to Jaster gifting a member as well. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support the channel directly. We would not be able to do this without you. We are trying to branch out and do more upload content, and that is extremely important to what we do here. So if you are on YouTube in those later hours around 7 p.m. Eastern, it's extremely helpful when you guys jump on those videos and support them and leave comments and the like. You want to hear the second place dad joke? Okay, and I made this one up on my own. I actually made this one up. It's a two-parter. I didn't get to use the two-part. I only got to use the first part. So, what is the coldest Mexican food? A burrito. And I do have another Mexican food joke, but I don't want to talk about it. There it is. There you go. I got second place. With burrito. Oh, man. Chili? No. Unsubscribed? Oh, come on. The kids loved it. It was great. They were cheering. All the little kiddos were cheering for my joke, man. That's terrible. Well done. Thank you. All the dads in the house are like, well done, sir. Well done. And a gift that comes in from Pathalon Phoenix and gets us to a nice even there, 85, 15 away from where we needed to be there yesterday. We're a little behind pace on the week. Retract your memberships. Lona, what are your thoughts on PS5 Pro sales lagging? Yeah, I covered that yesterday. It honestly is in line with the industry. The industry slowed down in January. We are in the second half of the gen, so the downturn is here. It also is more expensive. So my question is PlayStation is PlayStation worried or bothered by that, or did they expect that? Given the price point of the PS5 Pro, I feel like they were probably expecting that. They were probably like, we're generating more revenue, right? We're generating more revenue. Because if you look at the unit sales of PS5 just across the board, it's like slightly behind PS4, but it's generated more revenue for them. So that's the real question. Was PlayStation anticipating this? Are they worried? It is lagging behind, which I saw that and thought that's probably pretty much what they expected. January, all hardware dipped, and the Pro dipped right along with. So I'll be curious to see if GTA 6 can cause a difference, right? A lot of people have anticipated, PS5 Pro being the best place to play GTA 6. That could cause a bit of a surge. Maybe they do bundles. Maybe there's a marketing deal. I don't know. I didn't find it all that concerning given how well PlayStation's been doing up to now. We're in the second half. It's the month after Christmas. Right, it's the month after Christmas, so everybody goes big spend. The last quarter was very good for PlayStation. So I didn't think it was like a, oh my gosh, this is a crisis. And I know people will say, well, yeah, but everybody keeps talking about Xbox's sales. Well, yeah, because Xbox's sales have been down year over year, like almost the entire time. Like it just keeps falling. So that's not the same. That's not an equivalency to what's going on with the PS5 Pro. I'm not that concerned. The Portal sold well above what they expected. They're even marketing the PlayStation Portal more. So I think they're probably very happy with where their hardware is going. I don't think they're concerned. Given all the reports we've read recently, the number, like 42% of the people who bought a PS5 last quarter were brand new users. That's probably also very encouraging to them. They also hit an MAU record, monthly active user record. So to me, it's like they're getting the things they probably are wanting out of this gen. Went to church yesterday, did some coloring, plus I had some free food and drink going back next Wednesday. You keep on that journey. You keep on that journey, Ice Queen Gaming. You take care of yourself, you know? They have the room for a price drop if the units slow down too far. Given the revenue results that they're getting, that's the question you'd probably want to ask. Like, are they satisfied with, okay, units are slowing down, but the revenue is higher, so they may be completely fine with it. I don't know. And again, they may have anticipated this. It's January, so they may have like, okay, we're going to do bigger marketing pushes. We've got GTA 6 coming. You know, we've got GOTY. We've got Death Stranding 2. Like, oh, and also they had an enormous percentage, an enormous boost from Black Myth Wukong. Lost Soul aside could really help them this year as well. Finally start to get even more of a, they don't have much of a foothold in China, and Lost Soul aside could help get that started this year. Cost could be higher too. Right, cost per unit could be higher. We don't know. They typically around this time in the gen, you would see a price drop, and they haven't done that. That likely also could be one of the reasons why it's slowing down. Generally speaking, they seem to be fully behind hardware. Switch 2 slowed down as well, which I don't think that's alarming either because they announced... I'm sorry, Switch 1 slowed down, which is not alarming because they announced the Switch 2. So, I don't really think it's like a cause for concern. So, when you're posting growth and you're posting higher revenue, the shareholders are probably happy, and if they're happy, then everything will probably just continue going as expected. I've owned my PS5 Pro for 3 weeks. I can tell you with confidence the price point is hurting them. I'm sure it is. The question is, do they care? Are they okay with somebody going into the store and saying 700's too much, and then, I don't know, maybe that makes the 450 digital really tantalizing because that's a big price difference. You know, that's $250 difference. That's some controllers. That's games. You know, I don't know. They probably aren't too concerned because they're essentially the leader now. Like, there's nobody really all that in their field. Like, Switch 2's not really in their field. Looks like Wilds on the Pro is a stinker. That is a complete and utter misrepresentation of Digital Foundry's video. I'm not surprised that you typed that, though. That's not surprising. I watched the video this morning. There is nothing that is bad about it on the Pro. The game itself is having issues. Ollie basically said that the PS5 Pro is the place to play Monsterhunter Wilds. He also said that it's essentially giving what everybody was hoping to get on the base PS5, and he blamed the game. He's like, the game is heavy. It's a game problem. The image quality is significantly better on the Pro. Image clarity is significantly better on the Pro. FPS, he said the drops are infrequent and not that game affecting. He said they're very hard. The drops are hard and far more frequent on the base PS5. Acting like it's a problem with the Pro, that is not at all what Ollie concludes in that video. He's basically like, this is the place to play, but it's not that exciting because the game it doesn't look that great. And I told people that. Ahead of time. I said, listen, the base PS5 is going to use FSR1. The PS5 Pro is going to use PSSR. I said, I bet you it's going to run a whole lot better on the Pro, and people are not going to like that. They're going to be like, wait a minute, you know what? What did I buy a PS5 for? I shouldn't be treated like a second-class citizen. This comes down to Capcom optimization of the RE engine in an open-world environment. Just said it looks soft like 1080. Right, but he's not saying that that's an issue with the Pro treble. You've got to watch the video and properly represent it. He said the game in general is just not very elegant. It doesn't look very good. Like, it's an issue. But this is not something that's going to be rectified with a patch or two. It's, number one, FSR, I think, looks terrible on the PS5. When he does the side-by-sides in that video, I'm like, ugh. I'm like, that looks terrible. It looks all jagged and like, it looks bad. And then on the Pro, yes, it looks softer, but at least it doesn't look bad. It's like, oh, okay, well, it's a softer, like not quite super sharp image, but the image clarity and stability is significantly better. It's like, oh, wow, it's tolerable. Capcom is terrible at open world games. This is no different than Dragon's Dogma 2. This is no different than Dragon's Dogma 2. We're dealing with the exact same issue. We're dealing with an engine that just does not seem to be built for this type of game, and optimization is a struggle. Now, Dragon's Dogma 2 is in a much better place than it was, and, surprise, surprise, PS5 Pro is the best place to play Dragon's Dogma 2 on a console. On a console, it's the best place to play. Very noisy images, Lono. I was not impressed with performance on base PS5. Yeah, it's like everything has an almost flickering effect to it. It looks bad. You thought Dragon's Dogma 2 looked great on the Pro? Right, but that was later. You got to remember the timeline, Treble. Dragon's Dogma 2 came out and was in rough shape basically everywhere. And then later, it got an update for the Pro that significantly fixed issues that you were having in that game. They significantly rectified a lot of those issues, right? They basically said that they found a CPU issue problem. They, like, anytime you went into town, basically the CPU was getting murdered by everybody thinking, is what it was. Like, the NPCs were thinking, and that caused an issue. And then they updated the game and did a PSSR patch, and one of the more troublesome areas, like in a town that was typically like dropping, it was maintaining like in the 50s of FPS. It was like the worst place was fine on the Pro. It was tolerable. Dragon's Dogma 2 was one of the few games not at 60 FPS on the PS5. Yeah. And they pushed out some updates and some optimization for sure. Monsterhunter Wilds, yes, it runs at 60 on the Pro. Ollie from Digital Foundry said it's very consistent. He said the drops are infrequent and not really game impacting. He said 60 FPS on the base PS5. He said the drops are hard and they're more frequent. So he concludes the video by saying it's not that exciting, right? It's not that exciting on the Pro. He's like, but this is the best console to play the game on, because it's just like, it does not look very good or run very well on base PS5 or the Series X. It's not the Series X's fault. It's not the PS5's fault. It's the game and the engine. This is not new territory for Capcom. We have been here before. So, wouldn't surprise me at all if the absolute best place to play is either a PS5 Pro or a stronger rig using DLSS. Those are probably your two best routes to go. I don't know. I don't know if they've done the breakdown of, like, if you're using a card like an AMD card. I don't know where it's landing with respect to, like, what version of FSR can you leverage on PC. I don't know if that's been reported or not. Zinthos with 41 months and a member VIP. Hope you and the family are well. Thank you, Zinthos. We'll add that to the total. Super Googly with the first super chat of the day. And he says, let's read it here. He'll probably besmirch Nintendo. I played the beta on my 1590 in native 4K no upscale, but truth be told, it looked like a Switch game, even at max settings. I'll still buy it on both PC and PS5 though, because it's fun. Well, there you go. There you go. He gets a little jab in. He lets Switch take a stray there. I think they'll patch it. As he said, there's no PSSR upscaling, just AA. That's not what he said. That's not true. Again, Treble, you're really having a hard time today. Monsterhunter literally announced before the game came out that it's using the PSSR as the upscaler for the performance mode on the Pro. It is using the PSSR. You're thinking of the section where he was talking about, it was something about the lighting or something. It's using the PSSR. They don't have the rough stats, but they literally announced that before the game came out. It's PSSR AA, not upscaling, is what he said. Well, Monhun announced before the game came out that it would be using the PSSR for the upscaling on performance mode. Or what, did they lie? I don't understand. That's literally official from Capcom, that's the upscaler being used on performance mode on the Pro. That doesn't make any sense to me. Monster Hunter it's using the RE engine. It must have a day one patch. Yo, it's good, Trey Gaming. I didn't bring my freaking coffee down here. He said it looks like it's not upscaling to 4K, but maybe using PSSR AA at 1080. So it's using PSSR for something, but he's saying that he doesn't think it's upscaling to 4K. The thing is giving 4090 rigs a hard time, says Zubair, and we think they aren't upscaling. I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch that section because Capcom officially stated before the game came out that that's what they were going to be doing. So perhaps they're doing it in a very inelegant way. I don't know. It wouldn't be the first time that a company leveraged PSSR in a way that wasn't ideal or great. The Black Ops 6 guys had to figure out how to denoise it. We had Jedi Survivor. There was at least 2 or 3 other games that did things with PSSR that were ultimately making the game look worse. Now, again, that's not happening with Monhun Wilds. Monhun Wilds looks noticeably better on the Pro versus base PS5. I just played Rebirth and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on my 5090, and Monhun Wilds looked like crap in comparison. It's not a very good-looking game. It really isn't. It's muddy. Its image quality is poor. You wouldn't use PSSR to handle AA and not upscale it if you need to upscale it. That doesn't make any sense. That's what I'm saying, Omar. I'm very confused. That doesn't add up. One of the main reasons you're getting better performance and better image quality on the Pro is because it's not using FSR1. So it's got to be upscaling to some degree. It has to be using PSSR. They're not using FSR1. It's clear. Zubair says, Super Googly has a 5090. I'm switching over to 5090 rigs going forward. Bubba J with 24 months. That's a 2-year badge milestone. And a 23 months from Endeavor. Cheers. And a 25 month from Whiskey Neat. And a VIP. 25 months on 22525. Nice. Appreciate you. That's 3 members right there getting us to 89. We're a little behind pace on the week, but you guys are catching us up rapidly. Digital Foundry PS5 Pro brings the upsampling to bear here with an implementation of Sony PSSR's upscaler, and the results are much improved even in stills. Yeah, he said that. That's right from the video, Tubbs. That's what I'm saying. It's using PSSR. I don't think it's... He said that it's not going all the way to 4K. So, we don't know where they're upscaling to. It seemed like some of it was unclear. Is that section of the video seemed like they weren't quite clear on some of the details. What do we have? Okay. A DK Bager rounds us out nicely. Sorry. Creature's handling some business and I'm getting CC'd on it. I was just checking on it. And there we are. We are a 10 bomb away from 100. Let's see. Is anybody going to take the cake here? Let's see. If anybody going to land that 10 bomb dunker to 100. And OGDSB is going to make it a member of Chaos here with 30 months. A member of Chaos is what I'm calling it. 91. There it is. We'll see if anybody takes that tantalizing bait to get us to 101. Thank you, OGDSB. Googly says, I just wish they had 45 plus FPS on balance mode on the Pro. My girlfriend will be playing on the PS5 Pro and I'm on PC. Fable is delayed to 2026, according to Wario64. I told you guys. I told you. I told y'all. I could feel it. I could feel it in the ether. I could feel it in the air. That's the game that got delayed for Outer Worlds. Xbox has officially announced it, it looks like. He's linking to, here, mention links, transcript, read full transcript. I'm going to skip down to Fable in the transcript. Wait. Did they announce it on the podcast? It looks like they announced it on the podcast. I told you guys, give me my flowers. I said it. I said that's the game that got delayed. I told you. When Grubb said it was Perfect Dark, I was like, perfect. There is no way internally or externally Perfect Dark was planned for 2025. There ain't no way. I told you it was Fable. Chris, with a 41-month renewal, says another one, and he bumps the line to 92. Yeah, Wario is linking to a podcast, an Xbox Wire podcast. This is the tweet. Fable is delayed to 2026, and he's linking to this podcast. And so I'm not quite sure if that's contained somewhere in this video. Guest, co-host, podcast details, mentioned links, transcript. Did they? I don't understand. Let me just search for the word delay. Okay, let's just search for the word Fable. Fable. So where are we at with Fable? I just want to start that we're really excited. We previously announced the date for Fable was going to be 2025. Actually, we're going to give Fable more time, and it's coming in 2026 now. While I know that's not maybe the news that people wanted to hear, just want to assure people that it's definitely worth the wait, and I just have unequivocal confidence in the Playground team. There you go. There you go. Playground Games on Twitter. I freaking told y'all. I'm telling you, man, you develop a sixth sense in this dadgum industry, and I told you, I was like, that game ain't making it. Something felt off. You didn't have it at the developer direct. I left room. I said, okay. I said, maybe they're going to wait, right? Maybe they're going to wait and do it in the summer. We're going to take a little bit more time. Okay, I'm going to do a screenshot from that Wire transcript. Where did it go? Oh shoot, I just had it. I want to tweet that out because that just happened basically. Here we go. I got it. We'll do a snip of the whole quote. Okay. All right, let's get this tweet going. Edit, copy. Fable delayed to 2026. Post. There we go. Definitely delayed for the PS5 port. You're getting no flowers from me as I was excited to play it this year. Dude, okay, let's read this quote and see if there's any tea leaves here. I just want to start to say that we're excited. We previously announced the Fable date for 2025. We're actually going to give Fable more time, and it's going to ship in 2026 now. While I know that's not what people want to hear, I want to assure you that it's definitely worth the wait, and I just have unequivocal confidence in the Playground team. So I don't see anything. You guys can read more of that. Let me just read the whole part of the blog there, and let's see what we got here. And see if there's anything else indicating that this might be in relation to the port, because that, to me, I'm telling you, this is likely related to it. Award-winning, beautifully played, great. Just what they're bringing to Fable as a franchise. Just think of the visuals and what you expect from Playground Games, plus amazing games to play. British humor, Playground's version of Albion, so inspired by what's gone forth for the franchise, but their take, quite frankly, the most beautiful realized version of Albion we've ever seen. So really excited about the plans, really excited about the future, and I want the community to understand that we do these things for the best of the games and the teams, and ultimately that results in the best games, or the best game for the community. I said community a lot there. I think we're going to show some of the footage that isn't a trailer or anything. We thought, as we're going to talk about the game, it is important to show some things. We get to see some of the scenes, kind of walking through environments and there will be combat, some walking scenes, just really how beautiful variety. Played some aspects of it. Now, I want raw gameplay. That's why the podcast starts with Fable. Do they show anything in this section? No. Yeah, I want raw gameplay. I'm curious if we're gonna get it. I don't know if we're gonna get it. I still don't think we've received raw gameplay. I think they've shown like in-engine simulated gameplay, which to me is entirely different. Yeah, this is new pre-alpha footage of some scene where it looks like they're setting a trap with sausages in a bear trap. Oh, wait. Yeah, this is gameplay. Hang on a second. No, it's over already? Hang on a second. Okay. I think this is actual gameplay. Just a couple of seconds. We don't have a heads-up display, but this doesn't feel simulated to me. This feels real. Okay, yeah. That's kind of in line with what Jez Corden said when he said he saw it, like reminding him a little bit of like The Witcher. So, yeah, that's pre-alpha footage. I think I would say that's promising. But I think that lines up with some of my own predictions about Fable, and likely, I'm going to say it, I think that likely means it's going to launch as a multi-plat. It would not surprise me at all. Wouldn't surprise me at all if it is now going to launch as a multi-plat. Somebody replied to my tweet, Lono told us months ago and nobody listened. I didn't have a source on that. That was just gut instinct. That was 100% gut instinct. And then when we heard that they made Outer Worlds 2 earlier, to replace something, I was like, well, that's Fable. Like, that just made sense to me. You know what I'm saying? That just made sense to me. It's like, you wouldn't have done that, I don't think. I think you would have saved it if you could. If Fable was coming this year, there'd be no reason to push something back earlier. I mean, unless you need it. I thought the delay announcement was going to be in April. Yeah, I think they're trying to get a lot of this stuff out of the way because I think they're about to have a pretty strong year of cadence, delivery, publishing, putting games on PlayStation. So I think Xbox is probably just getting it out of the way. You know, Avowed, they seem happy with Avowed. South of Midnight's coming. Doom the Dark Ages is coming. I'm going to call and get details. Let me see. Hang on. Let me see. Really quick, guys. Really quick housekeeping here. I'm not seeing anything new stated. So I think they just replied to you. Member Plus from Mike S gets us to 93. Yeah, if they're motivating us to stay, then get the details, would be my guess. You know, get the details. There's no reason to not talk. Yeah, you can hop on a call with them. And see what they can do for us. And we could give it a 6-month trial period or something. How long ago was Fable announced? Long time ago. Avowed seems like a dud. I don't trust what Greenberg says. I mean, after what happened with Hi-Fi Rush, I could certainly see people not too keen to be like, oh, well, they're saying everything is good, is dandy, you know. Mike S. with 21 months says, glad to be back. Needed to upgrade again. Sorry. Oh, that was an upgrade. That takes us to 94. We are 6 members away from our first 100 of the week. That's what pace we needed to be at yesterday. So you guys are catching us back up to pace. And if you didn't check out my video last night about Liza P., make sure and check that one out. I think Avowed's doing fine. Okay, it's a valid concern after what Hi-Fi Rush, though, what happened to Hi-Fi Rush and the studio, to see Avowed doing well, according to them. I think it's valid to be like, well, okay, but what does that mean long term? I don't think you would turn Obsidian loose. I don't think so. I think they're too valuable. I don't think you would do that. That's all the red flags you needed for a game that was due this year. Apparently for the Fable team, they're hiring like a dialogue designer, associate producer, build engineer, gameplay animator. Those are all contracts. senior rendering engineer, senior gameplay animator, senior character artist, senior gameplay engineer. It looks like the team working on Fable is like still trying to grow. Wild Mustang with 23 months. It's a member light. Loving the shows. Trying to beat Valhalla before Shadows comes out. And let me say, I've never wanted to beat a game out of hate. Make sure and upgrade to Member Plus if you can, Wild Mustang, so I can count you in the total. And then a gifted comes in from Mike, and he's going to make hitting 100 really easy. We're at 95. We need a 5 bomb from somebody. It got close to the peak of Outer Worlds this weekend. If it got close to the peak of Outer Worlds, yeah, I don't think Xbox is concerned. I think they're probably pleased with Avowed. I do. You know what I'm saying? I think Obsidian is too valuable for them to get like turned loose like that. I think they're probably perfectly happy. Again, I think the fear is valid after what happened with Hi-Fi Rush. I think it's totally valid for people to like, well, who really cares if they're saying it did fine or it did well or whatever. If they're looking for that many people to work on Fable, was it even in production when the reveal trailer released? Joker, what I would say is they're trying to get those people to help with the PS5 version would be my guess. I don't know. That late in the stage, that could be what that's for. Kyle with 33 months, that is a renewal that bumps us to 96. Thank you so much, Kyle, for renewing your VIP membership. Mash says, and has other elements, like your decisions do make a difference. I don't agree with those saying they don't. Also, the actual gameplay arc is fairly fun. Do gifted members actually go to people that are already members? It goes to people who had memberships previously. I've been trying to encourage people for like 3 years to please pick up their own memberships because thousands upon thousands of people every month are gifted a membership. And it's like, I'd like those to go to new people. I get it. If you cannot afford it and you're falling kind of on hard times, I'm glad for you to get a member like every single month. I don't think that 2,000 to 3,000 people are in that situation. I think people are just like, yeah, well, why would I? Somebody else is picking up the tab. You generally are like basically gifting a membership to another person when you jump out of the gifted pool. You know, $6 a month and you're letting somebody else take a turn. $10 from Joe Munger. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate is the GOAT. Thank you for the $10 super chat. We've been discussing Monster Hunter Wilds and some of the performance issues. Guys, give me 15 more likes on the video. We're super close to 200 likes. Thanks for the strong turnouts today. You can't get gifted if you have a green name. I think plenty of people get it when their name hasn't really dropped off into gray yet. It does happen sometimes. It does seemingly happen sometimes. Like, people literally don't even have a gap in their membership. Like, that's how generous this community is. This community is so generous. Like, there are people who just never have a gap in their membership, and they've never paid for their membership. Like, I think that's great. I also think there's, you know, every strength has the underbelly of weakness, right? Every strength has the underbelly of weakness, and I think our generosity, you know, I think there are folks that are like, just sort of riding it, and they're like, I don't need to pay for my own, and that's fine. I get it, but it'd be really nice if more and more folks said, hey, I'm buying into what we do here. I'm going to support, and then that pays it forward to others. So if you can't, I get it. I think a lot of you can. $6 a month and someone else gets a turn. There, your mama joke in there somewhere, but I'm too lazy right now. John Lepkowski says, yeah, me, but I get ignored apparently. I'm not sure what you're saying, John. You get ignored about what? What's good, man? Am I invisible? Feel like I'm getting the cold shoulder. I'm not giving you the cold shoulder. I'm sorry. I was also looking at the Discord because Lone Wolf was posting pictures in the Discord. Are they new? No, I just don't wear these glasses all that often because they're heavier and they can give me headaches sometimes. Yo, what's good, Derek? Yeah, John Lepkowski, I'm 100% not ignoring you. You're a longtime supporter, longtime member. I was just looking in the Discord because Lone Wolf was posting pictures of the numbers for Fable. Indiana Jones. Yeah, it did better than Indiana Jones on Steam. Well, don't pay attention to me. I do my best. I do my absolute best. I'm trying to read as much chat as I can. Gray names can sometimes get more attention from me because I want to make sure that new people, get a response from me. I have 3 days left on my gifted membership. I can't really afford to upgrade yet. No, that's totally fine. Hal, I'm taking up for you When I tell people to pick up their membership if they can, I'm taking up for the people that can't, because I never want you to get left out of the group, you know, because somebody's sitting next to you that doesn't need it, right? You hear what I'm saying? Like, there are people right now that can't get one. Derek can't get one. Feed can't get one. You know, if a bunch of you would jump out of that pool and pick up your own membership, then the people that can't afford it would automatically get one almost every single time. There are people right now that can't get one. So you got to consider that, you know? It's just a different culture on YouTube. People don't like paying for content over here on YouTube. It just doesn't happen. It's not like Twitch. Has anyone heard of the recent? Has any one of the recent releases disappointed you? What releases are you asking about, Murphy? Oh no, I'm 30 minutes behind, but there's my dad joke. Did you hear about the fight in the candy store? 2 suckers got licked. That's not bad. That's not bad. I liked mine. I thought mine was pretty good. Like I said, I took second place. I'll see what you say when you get here otherwise. Okay. Avowed costs more than $100 million just because it's a California studio, 150 Californian devs plus 5 years plus marketing. If they don't disclose real units sold, I doubt it is a success. Well, you have to remember, and a 5 bomb from Quintar is an agent of chaos. 101 members on the week. We are officially at pace for what Monday should have been, so let me give 5 to celebrate. Cardoc says, the chat here is weird. I've been in other live streams, and I rarely see a green name. Yeah, the green name ratio here is insane. We are very much our own culture here at Reforge Gaming on YouTube. Yeah. Very much have our own culture here. Without knowing what the Game Pass change was, it's impossible to know. Oh, the Game Pass check, sorry. Yeah, I mean, there's a multifaceted approach with Game Pass games with Xbox games. So Phil Spencer said in that one email, like, they don't really have a way of measuring that. Fable delayed. Yeah, we read the announcement. Thank you, Fabiano. Another one that I called this year. My batting average is getting pretty good. My batting average is going back up. I had some misses last year with Kill the Justice League. And what was the other thing I got wrong last year? I got wrong Ragnarok coming to PC. I misfired on that. I thought I knew the timing, and I messed that one up. My batting average is getting a little bit better. It's going back up this year. Now that I've played 20 hours, I would describe Avowed as like a stripped-down RPG, says MASH. It has a very simple weapon upgrades, talent trees, loot arc, and quests. 1 month covers the dev cost. Right, but it's not that direct. Like, it doesn't work that way, Paul. I don't think they can say, all right, guys, for this entire month, all the Game Pass money goes to funding Avowed. Like, that's not how it works. Not sure if you covered this, says Cloud Strife, but Monster Hunter Wilds is a significant enhance on Pro. Kingdom Come and now this. Third-party support is great. Cloud Strife with 24 months at a member light. Cloud Strife, upgrade to member plus so I can count you in the total. The member lights are at the gifted tier. I can't add that to the total. Matt says, sometimes you just want something simple like that. It's just very superficial fun, but you won't remember it a month type of game. You won't remember it in a month. Well, and that's the other question, Mash. Can you keep going? Like, can you keep going if that's the feel? Like, if it's going to take, I don't know how many hours it's going to take to finish Avowed for most people. Let's say 25 to 30. The question would be, if the game feels that sort of like okay-ish, if it's okay, then is that going to be enough to keep people going? Or are they going to be like, yeah, Digital Foundry did a PS5 Pro video this morning for Monster Hunter Wilds. Ollie said that it's not that exciting, but it's the best place to play on console because it's basically giving the best looking and most consistent performance, and it's not surprising because it's not using FSR to upscale. You know what I mean? We'd love to collaborate with you to showcase this cutting edge keyword to your audience. Lazy Nerd with 31 months says, I'm here for the long haul. Thank you so much for that membership renewal. Lazy Nerd, when you're at Member Plus, it adds to the count. That's why you guys want to get off that Member Light tier if you can. What I mean is, why give $100 million to Obsidian for Avowed 2 when they can give that money to Call of Duty because it's more profitable and you don't need to wait for 5 years? I don't think it's that simplistic, Aloma. I don't think it's that simplistic. I don't think they're like, okay, we've only got so many dollary dues here, and we're not going to give the dollary dues to Obsidian. We're going to give them to Call of Duty. It's called operating costs. So they will measure the return from operating costs. Avowed is okay. Omar clipped. Avowed is a Concord level failure, this guy says. He has 355,000 subscribers. Now, what kind of a content creator is this, though? And Behemoth comes in with the 10 bomb and puts us on pace to catch back up to where we need to be on the week. 112 members. Thank you so much. Why AC Shadows is doomed. I don't know. Is this that kind of... Oh, is the video hilarious? Okay, is it comedic or is it like hateful? Okay, it's just comedic. It's so hard to tell the difference now on YouTube. You missed my renewal? Add it to the count. Thank you so much again, Behemoth. Angry Pete. 41. Wait, no, I added that. Didn't I? Oh, no. Oh, you did after Cloud Strife. I'm so sorry, Angry Pete. 1 month closer to 4 years. Counting purple support, something like 6 years. My membership is in elementary school. Thank you so much, Angry Pete, for that VIP renewal. I'm sorry, it slipped off the screen, and it happened around the same time as Cloud Strife, so I didn't notice it. That's my mistake. Sorry, Angry Pete. Don't be angry. If anything, you want to reduce spending on COD? Yeah, I mean, 11 studios, they may want to reduce spending on COD. All right, let's watch this clip that Omar has supplied us with.
Avowed is here, and the 3 people that knew it was coming out are hyped at how okay this game is. You go look at the reviews on Steam, and every critic is raving at how okay Avowed is. They're screaming it from the rooftops. Avowed is okay! Yay! Yay!
Wait, is that real? Was that... Were those screenshots real? Like, are that many people saying it's okay, it's okay? That can't be... That's gotta be fake. That's real? No, it's not. Come on. Come on, hang on a minute. All right, let's go here. 77. Let me see. Okay, let's read them all. Just show me positive only. All right? Positive only. I'm scrolling. Is it good? Yes. Does it do anything groundbreaking? No. I think he photoshopped that. I'm not seeing that. Wait. It's okay. I did find one. I found one saying it's okay. I'm still scrolling, boys. I think yeah, just show me all the video, the reviews that say it's okay. No, I found another one. It's okay. They're not all together, though. I don't know. I think he photoshopped that for comedic effect. It's okay. It's okay. Gene Park went in on Avowed after he told Spawncast he gave it a 7 out of 10. Lone Wolf says it's great. The video deserves an award. I like the latest Donkey video about everybody, gamer cred scores. It was so funny. What's the best bowling game? That part made me laugh out loud. Yeah, I watched that section twice where he's like, answer, what's the best bowling game? He tricks you. Oh, it's good. Oh, man. That is funny. I wish I had that level of humor. Like, that is funny content. Because, like, you could totally make fun of all the nonsense of the console war and the stuff that people do and say. I don't have those comedic chops, dude. What a surprise, Fable delay. I tried to tell y'all. You know? His voice makes it funnier. Oh, for sure, his delivery. His delivery is part of the comedic aspect of it. It's, yeah. Donkey's PS5 Pro video. No, I didn't see that one. Lego has officially revealed a teased dinosaur fossil sets. Ooh, cool. Look what was just sent 30 minutes ago. If it's 30 minutes old, Hadigan, I already know about it. What happened to Perfect Dark? Well, here's the thing, Mash. I know that Grubb has inside information, so perhaps when Jeff Grubb said this, he had inside information. I feel like maybe he was speculating. I don't know. He said that he thought Outer Worlds 2, that he had heard that it got moved back to replace something, and he speculated that it was Perfect Dark. I consistently said that Outer Worlds 2 was moved back to be earlier and it was replacing Fable. I kept telling people, I think Fable's been delayed. There's something about it. Something feels off. The fact that it wasn't at the Dev Direct to me was a red flag. And people are like, well, it'll be at the showcase. I'm like, maybe. If it's your biggest game this year, though, you're not going to mention it at all. And they're like, well, they did that with Starfield. And I was like, okay, I get it. Kind of felt like they did with Starfield because they knew that Starfield was going to get delayed out of the first half and they didn't want to focus on that, and this was a little bit different. So I said, I think Fable got delayed. I think it was for that. I don't think internally or externally there were any signals that Perfect Dark was slated for 2025. That's why I felt like Grubb's speculation was inaccurate. I was like, I don't think he's right. I don't think they were internally planning to have Perfect Dark come this year. And then, well, let's move Outer Worlds back to replace it. No, I think they moved Outer Worlds back to be earlier to replace Fable. That's what I think happened. I have said this for months. I don't even know when I started saying this. So, and it was a gut feeling. It was a gut feeling. I was like, there is something about Fable that just doesn't, something about it made me think they need more time. And then when they started, and then I really felt like it was going to get delayed when Jez Corden said, yeah, it's been enormously expensive and it's likely going to be on PS5. Just expect that. I was like, oh, it's delayed then. They want it to launch as a multi-plat. They want to make money on it. If it's been enormously expensive, I don't think they want to stagger the release. I think they want Fable to be day and date on PlayStation because they're trying to make their money back. I think they're, staggering of Indiana Jones, they know for a fact that's going to hinder sales. We know staggers hinder sales. This is not new information. It staggers the sale. I mean, it hurts the sales of PlayStation games going to PC. It likely affected the sales of Hogwarts Legacy as it came to old gen and the Nintendo Switch at like 2 different dates as opposed to when it landed on next gen. So, the lack of uninterrupted gameplay is always a red flag. Mr. Grimm with a single gifted bumps the line to 114. He might be playing a little game here. People have been picking up the mantle of Mr. Stonespire and trying to set up dunkers. Thank you, Mr. Grimm, for getting us to 114 members. Didn't they say 4 big games a year? So when they hit that number, they will start pushing them back. Right, and that's why I said, Paul, if you moved Outer Worlds 2 back to be, if you moved Outer Worlds 2 back to be, earlier to replace something, that just made sense to me. I was like, they did it for Fable. You know what I mean? So you've got South of Midnight, you got Avowed, you got Doom the Dark Ages, and you got Outer Worlds 2. Well, actually, they probably don't even count South of Midnight. They're probably considering the annual Call of Duty, that one of the big 4. You got Avowed, you've got Doom the Dark Ages, Outer Worlds 2, and then you got your annual Call of Duty. There's your 4 big ones. Then you've got smaller games or smaller relationships. You've got games like South of Midnight, smaller game. You've got smaller relationships, 33 Immortals, Towerborn. I think Replace got pushed back as well, another indie title that shouldn't have been included in the showcases about like, oh, it'll be here soon. That was supposed to be here in like 2023. Why do they keep the 4 games a year thing if they're going full third party, though, says Mash? It made sense when you're focusing on just Game Pass to minimize costs, but if you are selling your games, why have that limiter? There could be a handful of reasons, Mash. PlayStation seems to be following a similar pattern. They're doing like 3, and they've done 3 sometimes. No, yeah, they've done 3 is the most they've ever done, and they're doing 3 again this year. It could literally be a marketing thing. You can basically overextend the marketing and step on your own toes. Champagne renews their Member Plus and gets us a 10 bomb away from 125. We'll see if anybody takes the bait. I'll owe you guys 5 more at 125. And a member light from Uno Yodai says, I'm still under gifted. I don't know how to upgrade. Yes, you are. You're on member light. I'll put the upgrade command in chat and see if you can get it to work. It's really, really easy to upgrade on a PC. It is not easy on mobile. It's easy on Android. Apple makes it a headache. So, you never see 2 from one publisher in 1 year or something was definitely pushed. And a 5 bomb comes in from Siege Master. Gonna make it easy to get the next member milestone. Thank you so much, Siege Master. We are now 5 bomb away. You want to keep people on the service for as long as possible. It's not just that either, though, Paul. PlayStation does the same thing. They stagger their stuff. I don't think you want to be like, well, everybody's ready, so let's release 6 games this year. No, I think they want to push them and spread them out. It likely helps with your marketing spend, your marketing pacing. It likely helps with sales. If somebody's like, oh my gosh, they're releasing 6 games this year, you might be more picky on what you buy. Does that make sense? You know, it wouldn't surprise me if even some of the bigger publishers follow this rule. That they're not like, oh yeah, let's crank out as many possible games as we can in a single year. It's like, no, you need a cadence. You need to kind of have things spread out so that you don't blow everything in 1 year, and then you're like, we spent everything and it hurt sales and we didn't get the best ROI. I think that 100% can affect it. They're not going to want to step on. You don't want to be like, here's South of Midnight 2 weeks later, here's Doom 2 weeks later, here's this game. You know what I mean? It's very likely that they have that cadence for the effectiveness of sales combined with their Game Pass strategy, for sure. For sure, it's combined with, like, we want to keep people on Game Pass. And if every quarter we can have a big game, it's going to make it hard for them to cancel if they're like, I might as well stay on it. Every month I get stuff anyways. Game sales have lowered as well. Average person buys like 3 games a year. I don't know if that's lower. I think that's how it's always been. It's been that way for a while, like 2 to 3 games a year. On average, people buy brand new. I would also say it helped Avowed coming out as version 1.2. I'm not sure what you mean, Paul. You also have to work around big third-party games. That's exactly right, Siriu. You've got to consider the fact that you've got games like Mafia, The Old Country, and GTA 6 coming out. You got the big sports titles coming out. You can't just be like, well, our games are ready, shove them out there. It's like, well, yeah, you could get walked all over by Monster Hunter Wilds or, Assassin's Creed Shadows. As much as people are hating on it, it's a big title. It's a big name. A lot of pre-orders. A lot of brand recognition in the market for anything Assassin's Creed related. So that's something that has to be navigated around as well. You can't just be like, well, who cares? Let's just push our game out. We all know that games cannot kill other games, but we also know that game launches can affect other game launches. Like, it 100% can have an effect. I mean, the entire industry is kind of holding their breath for GTA 6 to say and do something. It's like, can you guys let us know when you're coming? We need to know. We need to know what your release date is here. Chat, make sure you guys are smashing the like button. Feel free to chime in. Feel free to chime into the chat on things you want to talk about, things you want to ask me about. People do not seem to be too happy about this delay. They're like, why would you write it like that? Why would you, I don't know why I did this. Sometimes I think you guys like spam mention me. Some of you guys that follow me, I have muted you because like you'll like spam mention me and I like have to mute you because you break my notifications. The overall response here seems to be that's why you don't do roadmaps. You end up getting delayed. delayed again. It was announced in 2020. Fable has been delayed to 2026. Yeah, everybody's running with it now. Yeah. To me, I would much rather the game get delayed though, instead of coming out if it's not ready. If they're trying to be ambitious, if they're trying to do significant things, it is one of the bigger titles. Microsoft still has a busy year of Xbox games ahead, including South of Midnight, Doom the Dark Ages, Outer Worlds 2, and potentially even Gears of War E-Day. I don't think so. I don't know why Tom Warren's saying that. He might know something. I don't think Gears of War E-Day is this year. They just announced it last year. I mean, I know Coalition's been working for a while, so there's the possibility. But again, I think to what Paul said earlier, they've got their big 4 games this year. They're not going to push to have anything else coming out unless they absolutely need to. Good old roadmaps. Fable releasing in 2025 was just a fable. Oh, that's a terrible joke. Obsidian postpones Avowed to early 2025 due to competition with Stalker. Give them time to add a 60 FPS mode. Oh, you're saying it gave them time to add the 60 FPS mode. Okay, got it. Jennifer English from Shadowheart and Nolan North will be the illustrious host of the Future Games show this year. They have to remind their Xbox audience to steady themselves from the pain. Long-standing flagship series. What I don't understand. Are they seemingly hinting that it is going day and date? Like, is that an observation that people are making? Bad news, Xbox fans. Fable's been delayed to 2026. Yeah, I'm curious if anybody is trying to unearth things from the podcast. The rumor is that the devs laughed when the release date was announced. So this has been in the cards for a while, says Game Riot on Twitter. That's interesting. Fable pre-alpha gameplay video dropped. Is it a full video, or are people just grabbing clips from the podcast? I don't know if this is... Oh, yeah, some of this is new. The horseback riding, I think, is new. Yeah, the combat looks new as well. There's a stiffness to some of her movements, though. I'm glad this is pre-alpha and not, like, a month away. I think their heart's in the right place. I think this combat could be very, very good, but there's... This is why I told you. What did I tell you when I said, up to now, we had not seen raw gameplay? We were seeing simulated gameplay. The gameplay, the alleged gameplay in the previous videos looks nothing like what we're seeing now. What we're seeing now looks more raw, looks more rigid, it looks more authentic, right? What they've shown, I'm telling you, I told you guys. I told you. Do a side-by-side comparison of the Fable trailers where I got beat up and criticized and yelled at and told that was gameplay. And I told you that it wasn't gameplay. Compare those trailers to what we just saw. It is not even remotely the same. It's not even remotely the same. I can tell that that's raw, real gameplay. You can tell. The stuff that they showed in the trailers up to now wasn't gameplay. Y'all are gonna get to a point where you trust me on this. When I watch a trailer and I'm like, that's not gameplay. No way. No way. You're just now showing me pre-alpha footage? Okay. Then how are you showing me gameplay 2 years ago? Sure. And the pre-alpha footage is noticeably rough, which is fine. It's pre-alpha footage. That's fine. But you were apparently showing me super fluid, super polished gameplay 2 years ago. Don't make me frickin' laugh. Don't make me laugh. I told you guys that wasn't gameplay back then. It's like that eyes open video we saw during the PlayStation State of Play. I was like, that's not gameplay. I can tell it's not gameplay. It's simulated. You can sense it. It's like how you can still right now, for the most part, sense if an image is AI generated. You're like, yeah, that's not real. People thinking Gears of War E-Day this year. Yeah, I don't think Gears of War E-Day's this year, Jake. Siri with the $5 super chat. But the roadmap looks better, so it's okay. Yeah. All those guys strutting around with their roadmaps and saying this, that, and the third about eating good. I told y'all. Gotta worry about that. Gotta be careful. And Siriu does more than a super chat. He does a 5-bomb to get us to 125. And I now owe you guys a 5-bomb of members. Thank you so much, Siriu, for doing that. The roadmaps, dude. Roadmaps are cooking, yeah. And then the food falls off the table, you know. Jiminy Christmas. Jiminy Christmas. People are saying it's, yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of commentary about the fact that this is probably related to wanting it to land on PlayStation 5 day and date. Yeah. Let me, okay, yo, Shinobi's got the footage. Yeah, I gotta tweet this. I gotta tweet this. I'm sorry. I got so irritated with that dumb narrative back when those trailers dropped. I'm like, I kept trying to tell people that isn't gameplay. It isn't. It's not. This pre-alpha Fable. Why is it not capitalizing the letter? Come on, phone. Fable gameplay. Pretty much confirms that I cannot type. I'm such an old man. Confirms that trailers up to now were simulated gameplay. As I said. Though I'm telling you, it was like that was all simulated. You compare it to this stuff now. This pre-alpha Fable gameplay pretty much confirms that trailers up to now were simulated gameplay, as I said. I try to tell folks, and I got nothing but hate. They're like, well, the devs said it was gameplay. Yeah, in-engine doesn't mean gameplay. I get so tired of the shenanigans. with these trailers, you know? It's why I said that I thought one of the weakest showings at the State of Play was that Eyes Open. I was like, that doesn't look real to me. That looks simulated. There's something off. There's something not right. And when you go from a trailer and you interrupt and you say, check out this new gameplay, and you just show me more quick clips that you already showed me in the trailer that I already saw, my spidey sense immediately goes off. I'm like, what do you mean? This is not a separate video. It's not new footage. It's some of the footage you've already shown us, and it's all quick. It's all quick clips. You know? Playground Games having fluid melee combat was major cope. Why do you think they can't get fluid melee combat? Mind's eye, eyes open. Freudian slip. I want to open your eyes. I want your eyes open. Mind's eye, eyes open. What's good, feed? Oh no, but you said the ending of Intergalactic was gameplay and it looked simulated too. No, it didn't. It was broken down by developers and tech analysts. That's not even remotely the same, Zinthos. If you think what they showed at the end of the Intergalactic trailer is the same as what they did in the Fable trailer, then I have failed you and not equipped you to have a more critical eye, my friend. There was an actual developer that watched the Intergalactic footage, and Digital Foundry watched the Intergalactic footage, and they could tell. They're like, no, that's gameplay. 100%. It's short, but it is not even remotely the same of what they were doing with Fable. With Fable, they were doing that like awkward, like the camera's following, it's quick cuts. It didn't seem like raw gameplay. You can think that. You're fine to think that. To me, when professionals weigh in and say that it is, and then your Fable trailers are like quick cuts and it doesn't seem raw And then go back and watch those trailers and compare those trailers to the pre-alpha footage of Fable that they just released. It's obvious now. It's like those trailers weren't real gameplay. I told you guys they weren't real gameplay. I said, that's not raw gameplay. I guess we'll see. You have a good batting average. Here's the difference. Okay, Zinthos. One studio has a track record of making those types of games that look really, really impressive. Like, if you look at what they did with the remake of The Last of Us, if you look at what they did think about how ahead of their time they were with Uncharted. Like, Naughty Dog has my confidence that, like, oh no, yeah, that was real. If this studio had been making games like Fable before with that level of fidelity, performance, or that level of like innovation or ahead of the curve game design, I'd be like, oh yeah, sure, that's definitely real. We're talking about a studio using an engine that's typically used for racing games. So there's more cause for suspicion. It's like, I don't know. That looked a little too good to be true. That looked like simulated gameplay. And then we just saw pre-alpha footage that essentially proves me correct, that we have not been looking at raw gameplay up to now. There's no way. This is your best foot forward? It's 2025. You announced the game 5 years ago. Your best foot forward is pre-alpha footage that looks fine. There's nothing wrong with the footage, but it's very clear it's pre-alpha. A little rough around the edges, a little clunky. Nothing wrong with that. It looks nothing like their last two trailers where we were told, no, that's gameplay. Remember the original one with the guy from the IT crowd show? And the people were telling me that was gameplay, and I was like, no, it's not. And then the later trailer, the newer trailer where she's walking around town and she's talking to people, I was like, that's not gameplay. You can tell that it's not. Let's wait for Perfect Dark. Yeah, Perfect Dark's was simulated gameplay as well. Yo, it's good, easy Evan. Listen, we have to start to have categories for this. You really do. Because with AI and with all this nonsense, all these shenanigans, there are going to be trailers that you have to properly label as, that's simulated, that's not raw, that's like rendered gameplay. Do you remember the famous footage of the guy who built the bus station in Unreal Engine 5? And everyone's like, holy crap, we're about to enter the era of gaming that is indistinguishable from reality. And he came back and he said, this isn't raw. It's all been fully rendered, meaning he didn't like move around in the train station and just like hit record on his computer. Do you see, like, a lot of the times it can look like, oh my gosh, they're moving around in the world and doing stuff, and my spidey sense tingles, and I'm like, that isn't raw gameplay though. There's a distinct difference. There are like these minuscule little markers and signals for when you're looking at real and genuine raw gameplay. You can just tell. It's why whenever we looked at the day before, I immediately knew. I'm like, that's fake. That's fake. You could feel it. You could sense it. There's something off. It was like when we would watch the footage of people cheating in games. There were milliseconds missing. There's just milliseconds missing. It's like this isn't human behavior. There's something mechanical going on here. You can sense it. You can feel it. There's something inorganic about it. We've had ray tracing for decades. It's real-time ray tracing that has been the big win. Ray tracing. Way tracing. Real gameplay has pauses for player input. Simulated gameplay is too smooth. Exactly. You can even see it in the new footage when she almost like stutter steps towards the one enemy. You're like, oh no, yeah, that's somebody controlling her. You can tell that somebody's controlling the character or moving the character around. This guy says, you were totally right. Still super excited for a new Fable game. Yeah, I'm not saying that the new footage looks bad. I'm just telling you it wasn't real gameplay up to now. It wasn't. You can sense it in her movement in this one sequence. Right there. Watch her. See how she moves back forward? You can sense it. It's like we've been watching simulated gameplay up to now. Like her little steps back and then back forward. You can see This is somebody is controlling this character. There's an inelegance to it, which is totally fine. That means to me I'm watching something real. When it lacks that perfect elegance of like, it almost looks scripted. It's like, wait, why is she walking so perfectly? When you watch that little sequence there where she's fighting that big rooster, there's this inelegance to it where like she kind of steps and then kind of like, okay, now it's my turn to walk back, you know, and you can sense it here in this fight as well. You can sense you can sense the slight little moves of her character are more of a reaction from a player than like raw gameplay of somebody moving around in the world. Have people forgotten Anthem? These quick cuts are what the devs are trying to aim at, not real gameplay. Oh yeah, those early Anthem trailers, holy crap, those were egregious misrepresentations of the actual product. They should have shown one long gameplay chunk instead of all these clips. I mean, if you're gonna, but that's the thing is, you're generally gonna get clips at this stage in the marketing. It's early, man. Like I don't expect it. It's early. If it got delayed to 2026, I don't expect some big long deep dive of gameplay. What did I say last year? This was part of my theory as to why it was delayed. I told people, I said, if that game's coming next year, where's the gameplay? What are you doing? Are you going to wait? You're going to wait? That really? It's one of your biggest titles. That's why I told you. I was like, I feel like it got delayed. If you got a game coming next year, brother, you bring the gameplay, especially after it's been that long. Like with Ghost of Yotei, as an example. Ghost of Yotei had not yet been announced. They finally announced it. I don't expect gameplay. Your next outing, I expect gameplay. With Fable, it was like their third outing. It's like, this is like your third outing. What are you doing? Where's the gameplay? It's coming next year. You know, that was part of my gut feeling that something's going on here. Anthem was an incredible 30-hour game and well worth the $5 ticket these days. I'll continue to stand on that hill. I thought the main game of Anthem was fine. It just wasn't a good live service game. If you just did one playthrough with like one or two javelins kind of switching between them, it was a very fun game. It was. There's just nothing after that, you know, which makes it hard to sell at that point because the story didn't really carry it. The story was fine. The story was fine. It was serviceable. What are you thinking? Early or late? Late. I would say late. I think it's related to bringing it to PlayStation. Yeah, Jez Corden was telling the Xbox guys that Fable's coming to PlayStation, and his reasoning was simple. Right? His reasoning was simple. It's been incredibly expensive. Okay? Well, if something's been incredibly expensive and you just delayed it in 2026, I would say it's related to porting it to PlayStation, and that's why. They want to make as much money as they can. Now, this will be called port begging by people who are too thick to understand the business. These are the same people that thought Xbox wasn't going to do this. So, it to me is just what Xbox is going to do going forward. It's just the strategy. They've signaled it loud and clear. Like, if they have something big, popular, and worthwhile, profitable, something that can make them money, they're going to ship it in as many places as they can. And I think they look at Fable as one of those things. It's why when the discussion about Blade happened, like it hurt my brain how ignorant people were doing about the Blade situation. It was like, if Blade was an exclusive, you'd be shouting that from the rooftops. You wouldn't be coy and secretive about a Marvel game being exclusive to your platform. Like, you wouldn't be secretive about that. You'd be shouting it from the rooftops. And it made sense in light of what we know about Marvel contracts. Fable will come to PS5 because everything is coming. Forza just blew the gates. I think that's correct, Angelo. I'll play my Xbox more than my PlayStation and my Xbox library is bigger. That's totally fine, Tyler. That is 100% okay. I have an enormous library on my Xbox as well, but I just shifted this gen. I've just been buying and playing more games on my PlayStation. It's now my home main console. I think it's fine to plant your flag on a console and stay there if you feel like you're still getting value out of it. That's what you're supposed to do as a consumer. I feel like I'm getting more value on the other platform now. We're just, we have just made different choices. And in the future, I may make different choices. I may end up playing on my PC more if they end up creating, imagine in 7 or 8 years, there's a really strong console PC I can put in my living room. And it has amazing performance and all my games are there, or I can get these great indie titles on Steam. Maybe I end up gaming more on that. I'm not beholden to or loyal to a platform. I've just gone where I feel like I get the best value. Fable launching day and date will again prove what publishing can do for Microsoft. Well, I don't think anybody needs that proven. I think, Hadigan, the market has already proven what publishing can do. There are already very big publishers out there, and Microsoft has already made a ton of money from their publishing efforts with Minecraft and with Call of Duty. There is no proving. It's been proven. But even before Microsoft did this, it was proven that you could make a ton of money publishing. Harbinger with a gifted member bumps the member line. That's an Agent of Chaos to 126. I'm all paid up. Your next milestone of 150 makes me give more members to the community. And thank you, Harbinger, for getting us closer. I use my Xbox to try out games or Netflix, and if I like a game, then I get it on. Oh, then you get it on your PC. That's not a terrible strategy, but not all games do demos on Steam. So I guess if you're using Game Pass, but PC Game Pass is cheaper. If you're using it for day and date, why don't you use PC Game Pass? PC Game Pass is cheaper than Ultimate. Or have you had issues with the Xbox Game Store on your PC? I've had people say they don't like using it. Buying a PS5 is useless because of PC releases makes no sense. What do you mean? What are you talking about, True SSJ Havoc? Xbox Store on PC is, a lot of people have said that. No, I don't doubt what he's saying. I've had a lot of people say that. They don't like using the Xbox Store on their PC. My PlayStation has always been my main home to play, but Steam and Xbox Game Pass have been grabbing me a lot lately. They do have some value there. Yeah, I mean, that's a big win for the Xbox guys getting Balatro. I mean, that's a popular game, and they just, boom, bam, dropped it on Game Pass yesterday. Not surprising at all. Monster Hunter Wilds performance on PS5 Pro stumbles and falls flat on its face. And Eurogamer, who, is actually publishing the Digital Foundry article version of the Digital Foundry Breakdown, says Monster Hunter Wilds plays better on the PS5 Pro, but we hope for more. Right? Yeah. It's wild. It's wild how you can literally use a headline to make something seem a certain way, and it's completely inaccurate. He said he sold his PS5 because of PC releases. It became useless to him, so he sold it. He just kept PC and Xbox. Oh, he sold his PS5? Oh, I mean, if he's fine waiting, I don't know. Who cares? I can play God of War on my PC and it runs better. What are you running on? What kind of a rig are you running on? I mean, I don't think if I had a rig that was running God of War better on PC, I would have never got a PS5 to begin with. Did you buy the PC after you got your PS5? Like, if I had a PC that was that strong and you're sitting here saying you prefer PC, why'd you buy the PS5 to begin with? Microsoft learned about the benefits of publishing a long time ago. Yeah, with Minecraft. Yeah. I always said Minecraft was the catalyst. Phil Spencer told Famitsu that. Oh, you built your PC after. Yeah, if you built your PC after and you were like, I'm getting better performance and I don't mind waiting, I've told people that's a perfectly fine strategy. There's a lot of Xbox refugees that are trying to decide where to go, and I'm like, I think PC is a great option if you're willing to spend the money. If you don't mind spending the money and you build a really good rig, and then you also don't mind waiting for ports, I think it's a perfectly good choice. The Steam marketplace is great. Headlines educating consumers about the plummeting Steam Deck sales and the shrinking handheld market. Yeah, we got an article here. Steam Deck sold approximately 3.7 to 4 million units in 3 years. This is why the Switch 2 has nothing to worry about in terms of competition. Oh no, and I don't even think the Steam Deck is trying to compete with the Switch. They're in different hemispheres of value. Like one is a Nintendo toy, and the other is a frickin' handheld PC, basically. Handheld PC. I think they call them handheld consoles, which is just weird. I keep the Xbox because I'm deep in the ecosystem, and if I travel, I can take it with me. Harder to lug the PC around. I have the opposite, says True SSJ Havoc. I have a PS5 and a PC, and I never use the Xbox. That's where I am now, True SSJ Havoc. Like, if I have to use my PC to play something on Steam, I will. But yeah, I'm the same way. Mainly PS5, and then PC if I need it. They're probably saving raw gameplay for the showcase this summer. Single Gifted comes in from Harbinger. He keeps trying to poke that member count line to get a little member train going. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like button as well. Let's set our sights on 300 likes. We've only been streaming for about an hour and a half, so thanks so much for hanging out and continuing the conversation. We'll probably end up discussing this again tomorrow. I'm obviously allowing it to be somewhat cannibalized, but yeah. We are just sort of adapting to the landscape of gaming and the news that hits. I enjoy seeing names in chat that blocked me. Is that you celebrate that? Christopher Burnett says, I'm probably in the minority on this, but out of all the potential Xbox games that could come to PlayStation, or will at some point, the game I want the most is Quantum Break, only Remedy game I don't own. I did not like Quantum Break at all. I really liked Control, but I did not like Quantum Break. I funnily, in a humorous way, kind of put my foot in my mouth when there was a Control booth at an event, and I went up and was talking to the woman that was there. And I said, Control looks really good. I'm really excited. I said, it looks like they basically took all of the good parts from Quantum Break and made a better game. And she was like, that's actually what we did. Like, I wasn't even thinking when I said it. I was just speaking honestly, and I basically kind of slammed Quantum Break. And I was like, I didn't mean that as an insult. She's like, no. She's like, it's fine. She's like, that's literally what we did. We took a lot of feedback and we wanted to build a better game. And they literally did. I mean, they really did. Control is fabulous. A replay of Control might be in order on my backlog. Like, it's just great. It's just such a good game. They haven't done a PS5 Pro enhancement, have they? That would be a great reason to go back. To go back to it. I don't think they have though. Control Ultimate Edition. No, yeah, it's an old gen, it's a cross gen game, Man, that'd be great to get a Control remaster with some PS5 enhancements. That would be nice. For all the console warriors out there, as John Lennon said, the war is over if you want it. Right. Just replayed Control in the DLCs, and it was fantastic. DLC has cool tie-ins to Alan Wake. Yeah, I love how they have the universes, touching each other. I think that's great. Guys, YouTube's doing that thing. I'm asking for likes, and the like count doesn't move. I don't know if it's glitching out or what. Double check that it's saving your likes. Let's set our sights on 300. I try not to harp on it too much, but it 100% helps us do what we do here. We meet more people and find more folks whenever that like count is moving and grooving. So thank you so much. I'm playing Control now. Great game. Control has a lot of Returnal vibes. Yo, it's good, Street Shadow. Just getting online for the day. Good to see you. I heard it wasn't the best game, but I'm a sucker for crazy time bending sci-fi games. I just want to play it. There were people that liked it, Christopher Burnett, so don't let me turn you off from Quantum Break. There were people that liked it. I did not like it at all. I thought Control was just so much better. You know? I love you, Lono. Most people are out here burning bridges about remasters, but you're out here saying 2019 games need remasters. I love it. Let me explain my position on that. There are a ton of games that landed in that time period that were clearly like ahead of the curve. You know what I'm saying? Like Control is a perfect example of a game that like, man, you landed just a little too early. You know? Like clearly ahead of the curve. Like the sequel to Control is going to be nuts because it's going to be next gen only. It'll be current gen only, I should say. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's such a bummer to see a game like that's why I was totally okay with The Last of Us Part 2 doing a remaster or Tsushima doing a director's cut. Exactly. It's like these games landed just before we had the power. Like just before we had the power to consistently give good resolution and good frame rate at the same time, you know, and even now with the Pro throw in some ray tracing, I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, that would be amazing to go back and revisit some of these and give them the remaster treatment. So, like, I get that there's a stigma around remasters, but you have to understand we've finally entered into an era where for somewhere between $450 to $700, you can have a level of performance in your living room on a console that wasn't possible 6 years ago. It just wasn't. You weren't going to get that level of fidelity and that level of performance at the same time. You were rarely going to get that level of performance. You certainly were not getting 60 FPS all that often, and you really were not getting that level of fidelity. You just weren't. And a lot of times if you were, you know, the performance was going to take a hit. Can't wait for some more info on the sequel to Control. That's what I'm saying. You want to fund that Control sequel, do a little remaster, man. Give me a little bit of that ray tracing on my PS5 Pro. You know what I'm saying? And I know the PC boys are like, you can get it on a PC right now. That's fine. I'm a consumer making demands of the market, and that's what you're supposed to do. You know? Supply and demand. I'm out here saying there's a place for remasters. A bunch of games landed in that time period of 2018 and 2019 that were so ahead of the curve. You know, God of War 2018 was so ahead that they just gave it like a 4K checkerboard update at 60 and it looks brilliant. Like, and that game landed in 2018. How many other games landed at that time that could give a little bit of a spit shine, charge you $10 to upgrade, and give you significantly better performance? And then all the people that missed out on it can buy it and play it at, you know, current gen fidelity and performance. You know? Come on now. Come on. The remasters aren't the devil. I really don't think it's a game that needs a remaster. It holds up really well and already has a 60 FPS mode. You're probably correct, Paul, but man, I want some of that ray tracing. You know what I mean? I want some of that ray tracing. I got a PS5 Pro. It can handle it. It can do, you know, some ray tracing and some 60. You know? I'm just saying a little spit shine, Paul. Just a little spit shine. You don't got to overhaul anything. You don't got to rebuild anything. Just a little, you know, just put a little spit shine on it. Vice King says, I originally started playing Control on my PC, which at the time I had a 1660 Super. During my playthrough, I got a new GPU, and man, the game looks so good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bro, come on. They already released the Ultimate Edition. It has ray tracing. What did you say to me? You're asking for PS5 Pro enhancements? Maybe that's what I'm asking for. A Pro patch. All right. Okay, fine. You win. You win, Paul. Just give me a Pro patch. Just give me a Pro enhancement. If you're saying they release an Ultimate Edition, it's got some ray tracing and it's got 60. Do I... Hang on. Hold on. Do I get ray tracing and 60, or do I choose between? Right? That's the question. Do I got to choose quality mode to get the ray tracing? Because then, yeah, that's no good. That's no good. I'm going to have to play it at 30 FPS. We got to stop glazing remasters. I'll do whatever the frick I want. I will buy them and I will celebrate them. And plenty of other people do as well. And it's, you know, good for the studios. It's good for the industry. You don't got to buy them. You don't got to like them. I'm gonna do me. It's 30 FPS with ray tracing. See what I'm talking about, Paul? You see what I'm saying, Paul? It's 4K 60 ray tracing? No, it's not. That's not. Paul's saying if you want the ray tracing, you got to go to the 30 FPS. Come on, man. Give me a pro patch. Sorry, Lono. We are doing this thing again where we insist on using the right words. What wrong word did I use? I saw it has all three, but I'll trust Paul. Control control on PS5 Pro. Control on PS5 Pro. There's been 0 changes according to Reddit. This is from 3 months ago. Ray tracing mode is capped at 30. If you go into photo mode, into ray tracing mode, though, it runs at 60. I don't care about 60 FPS in the in photo mode. It doesn't do anything for me. All right. Fuzzy found us a clip. Let's see what I said. Let's see it. Let's see what I said here. This is a great freeze frame. Oh, drank too much. Don't have beer with your Cheerios. All right, what did I say here? Let's unmute my PC. Was first announced in 2020, and here we are in 2023, still just largely getting trailers that don't have raw gameplay. They have glimpses of what gameplay might look like or simulated in-game or in-engine gameplay with a lot of great cinematic scenes to set the tone, but we don't have a launch date. We have no idea how much closer this game is to completion, and we don't even really have an idea of what the game will comprise other than an RPG, open world, graphically not bad, but also not crazy strong either. It's sort of in the middle. And this is me responding to the trailer with the guy from the IT crowd, because it looks significantly better in the more recent trailer. Excited about Fable, but I'm sort of agreeing with the mindset of why are we showing games and talking about games so far in advance to the point that it almost becomes annoying, almost becomes a nuisance. I've even said recently that for the showcases that we're seeing, it would be better to really save room and only primarily focus on the games that are upcoming, that are right around the corner, or at the very least coming in the next year. And we did see that trend during the Xbox Game Showcase. To their credit, most of the games said 2024, so that's a pretty full, 18 months. The next 18 months is pretty full, with a lot of the stuff landing next year, not really this year. This year's got some big stuff with Starfield and with Forza Motorsport, but then it did seem like most had gotten shoved into 2024. And the generic date of 2024 can quickly become the infamous tweet image with the body of text where a game gets delayed. Oh, man. The foreshadowing. The dadgum foreshadowing. I was like, yeah, generic. The generic 2024 can lead to delays. Good Lord. Yeah, we know, Super Gaming. Yeah, Fable got delayed. I tried to tell y'all. One of these days you guys are going to learn that I've got a superpower. I can see the future. And I told you guys, I was like, Fable's delayed, y'all. I was like, that game is delayed. You know what I mean? If it was coming, we would have seen raw gameplay last year, not simulated, and they would have been gearing up this year. They would have been gearing up. They would have had it at the developer direct. Sorry. I don't know when it happened. Maybe I got struck by lightning as a baby or something, but I can see the future. Megamind. That's why my forehead's so large. If my forehead wasn't this large, I would lose that power. I agree with what you've been saying. The funny thing was, I wasn't getting a lot of pushback. So will Wolverine also be delayed? How can Wolverine be delayed? They've never announced a release window, release year, or release date. So I'm not really sure. How it could be delayed. Now, internally, maybe. Internally, maybe. But I mean, I don't think they've even said, there's not even been internal leaks about, the window of time that Wolvie should be showing up. Wolverine is in a category of casting vision for your new gen. They announced it at the PS5 showcase, and it was basically like, this is one of the exciting things we're working on. It was a teaser. And I have always said, I do not have a problem with the teaser. If you do a teaser and then you shut the frick up, I'm okay with that. You show me a little teaser, and then you shut up, I'm good with that. Now, I would be just as critical of PlayStation if Wolverine was showing up at every single PlayStation event or showcase with a cinematic trailer with simulated gameplay. I'd be critical of that. I wouldn't pull my punches because it's Wolverine or PlayStation. I'd be like, don't do that. There's no reason to do that. It doesn't do anything. Look at what it did to Fable. You set expectations, you get people excited. Guys like me are like, that's not real gameplay. And then all your little evangelistic minions attack me and say that it is gameplay. And then look what happens. You have to delay the game. It doesn't land in the roadmap when it's supposed to. And then you finally release pre-alpha footage. And it's like, yeah, this pretty much definitively proves that we haven't been looking at gameplay up to now. Okay. Well, so what was the point of all of that? What was the point? The point was to keep you satiated and promoting roadmaps and to create this idea of staying on Game Pass. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan, boys. I almost feel like the Wolverine game has been delayed to time the release near the X-Men film that is in development. I don't know about that. Maybe. I mean, again, if you're working with Marvel, you could get the inside scoop and the inside track. But Wolverine was going to come out this year, but since it got leaked, it's getting held back. None of those timelines on any of those calendars were accurate. That guy, Chris. Yay! Purple Haze gifts a member and bumps the member count for the week to 128. We're a little behind pace for the week, but you guys are catching up already. Thank you so much, Purple. None of the timelines from that Insomniac leak were accurate. So singling out Wolverine and being like, no, I was supposed to be here this year and it didn't line up. None of those timelines were accurate. A lot of those internal calendars were like projections, not like hard plans. That's not the same as a roadmap that you release to the public. Wolverine had a date of 2026 during the Insomniac hack. Oh, did it really? See, there were conflicting dates. I thought there was a Wolverine date for 2025. Dave Langer is saying, didn't those hacks say Wolverine was 2026? Let's see. Insomniac hack roadmap. And a single comes in from Harbinger and gets us to 129. And then P-Dub H-Town does a $5 super chat tip and says, Lono, read this in your PC Master Race voice. Ray tracing, path tracing, motherboards, fatherboards, grandmother boards, NVIDIA 5090, water cooling, high wattage for the win. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pull up the images now of these roadmaps for these games. No, yeah, here's the one I was thinking of. There totally was one that had Wolverine in 2025. See, right here. Again, these calendars were conflicting. There were multiple calendars. There was one that had Wolvie then, and then there was this one. This one had Wolvie in 2026, right? And it has Venom in 2025. Now, I've continued to say that I think we could get a surprise little Venom game this year. A little $40 or $50 game like Miles Morales. They learned, look at Spider-Man back here, right? Spider-Man, boom, nothing in 2024. End of 2025, we get Venom. I think that calendar's more likely to be accurate because I think they learned that doing DLC for Spider-Man 2 wasn't going to make them as much money as they could make like they made off of Miles Morales. So I think what they did was they said, use existing assets, animations, the city, and blah, blah, blah. And they would then say, we'll make more money, and that'll drop late this year. I think that calendar is more accurate. Personally. I personally think that that is more accurate. Now, there is no Venom game. I don't believe that. Right. These calendars could all be incorrect, Michael. My current belief, I'm not speaking factually here, I'm speaking in the realm of belief. My current belief is the reason we didn't get a Spider-Man 2 DLC cadence or roadmap is because they built Venom instead. That's what I think they did. Lono, but mainly for chat. Have we not seen Sony's pattern so far? Keep the announcement and release date as close as possible. 1 year is the max they are doing now. Look at Astro, like 3 months. Exactly right. Astro was a smaller game, and you found out about it just a few months before it came out. I don't know if they canceled Venom. I think they didn't do DLC for Spider-Man 2 because they said, let's pull a Miles Morales. I think, this again, theory, I think one of the DLCs was going to be Venom-centric, and they said, why don't you do a Venom game? Spin-off Venom game. Sell it for $40 or $50. We'll make more money. The DLC for Spider-Man 1 probably underperformed comparatively to Miles Morales. If Wolverine was meant to release this year, they would have shown that instead of the Returnal sequel. Yes, I think that is correct because it's a Marvel title, Gale. I think your marketing window for Wolvie will be about a year, not just a couple of months. I think Venom's being treated differently because it's a smaller game. I don't think they want to put it out frontline and center. I think they want it to be like a summer surprise. Yeah. Game of the Year Black Myth? What do you mean? It wasn't anywhere. I mean, I don't think it... Did it win Game of the Year at any of the ceremonies? I don't think it did. Who would be Venom since Harry is in a coma at the end of Spider-Man 2? Introduce somebody new, and it's a catalyst to Spider-Man 3. Introduce somebody new. Somebody else, introduce Eddie. I don't know. Time for my game dev knowledge to share. Game product timelines change quarter to quarter. They are a snapshot until the dates get locked. You have targets, then the targets turn into locked dates. So would you say, hypothetically, Street Shadow, the fact that Venom's on there, it's real? It exists? It did Golden Joystick? Well, that's player choice. That's player vote. I'm talking like BAFTAs, DICE, Game Awards. So it won Golden Joystick, which is player vote, which we knew it was going to win that. I remember co-streaming that. And I was like, Black Myth's going to win because it's a player vote. His father has a symbiote. Only way Eddie gets it is if he breaks into Oscorp. I mean, it's comic book. Do you know what I mean? Set it up. He goes in for an interview, breaks in or something. I don't know. Have you seen the leaks of Assassin's Creed Shadows? It's crazy. Ubisoft's in so much trouble. Why are they in trouble? Are they in trouble because you saw a thumbnail that said they're in trouble, or are they in trouble for a particular reason? Pre-orders were on pace to match AC Odyssey, which is their second most commercial AC game in history. Venom is a parasite. It can attach to other people. If Insomniac's doing a Venom game, I'd say Eddie Brock is a pretty good candidate. That's what I'm saying. They could do Agent Venom Oscorp trying to make the money. They could do whatever they want. I mean, that's the thing with comic book movies and comic book stories. You know what I'm saying? Could we get 16 more likes on the video, guys? Thanks so much. We're almost 2 hours into the broadcast. Thank you so much for a strong day, strong turnout. A lot of super chats, a lot of members. Appreciate you. Always double check that $sign. If you click that button at the bottom of the chat, you may have a membership renewal to celebrate. And as long as you are at Member Plus or VIP, you can add to the total. What's this? First leak images of the next game from the new studio La Chimera, formed by former developers of Metro Saga. Yeah, I'm not going to show this. I don't like putting... It's always risky. Stuff like that. It's like, okay, how did this get leaked? How did this come out? You know? Creature says, I would say so, but I would need to see the full roadmap to see if that is a proposed roadmap. It can always change. I'm changing my roadmaps now based on new priority in my company. Okay. Games that have come out recently have done pretty bad. Other companies are offering to buy out Ubisoft like Tencent. Okay, so the Assassin's Creed leak has nothing to do with you claiming that Ubisoft is in trouble then, right? Those are separate stories, my friend. Like, Ubisoft is in bad shape. They are trying to negotiate a deal, seemingly with Tencent. But that has nothing to do with the Assassin's Creed Shadows leak. The Assassin's Creed Shadows leak is unfortunate, but it doesn't seem to be having an effect on the game. I don't think the pre-orders are going to suddenly plummet. Now, obviously, spoilers can affect the perception of a game. Like this happened with Last of Us Part 2 story, stuff got leaked. That was a big controversy. There's no controversy here. It's not like people are like, oh my gosh, there's a black man in the game. Like, that was already the controversy from the haters. So I don't think there's like some new revelation from the leaks that I've seen that's going to like cause it to hurt it. Now, the grifters and the liars are quickly jumping on it and doing what they do. But these people are dishonest, so who cares what they say? I just hope people don't look at a glitchy game and think that it's the final product. I think the gamers that are... track with me here. The number of gamers that are dialed in enough to have seen leaked footage, if they're not smart enough to know that doesn't represent the final product, then I don't really care. Like, you see what I'm saying? If you're tuned in enough to be on like Twitter and Reddit and forums and sources where you're going to see leaked footage, and you don't have the intelligence to know, well, this is going to be rough. This is old. There's no patches. There's no updates. The game got delayed. There's no day one patch. There's none of that. Well, if you can't figure out that, well, that's not the final product. The final product will probably be better. Now, again, that doesn't mean that the final product is going to be perfect. So, similar pre-orders to Odyssey doesn't sound good to me. Why does that not sound good to you? It's the second most commercial successful Assassin's Creed of all time. So there's Valhalla, the absolute most successful, and then AC Odyssey is next in line. So AC Odyssey is more successful than every single Assassin's Creed game in history except for one. So if it's pacing to sell the same as AC Odyssey, how is that not good? If you look at leaked footage and go, this is indicative of the game on release, you're not worth conversing with. That's what I'm saying. This is the most requested setting for AC. Okay. Valhalla was terrible too, so that tells you something about the fan base. Or maybe Valhalla was great and you didn't like it, so you just insulted millions of people, like you know better than them. So AC Valhalla is the most commercially successful, and you think that's because everybody that doesn't think like you is apparently, what, stupid? What's the logic there? There are tons of people that really liked Valhalla. AC Valhalla PlayStation Store. Let's see what the audience thinks of it. Let's see what the audience score is on PlayStation. A 4.1. It's got an 82%. 66,000 ratings. Now, Valhalla is currently on sale. I mean, I didn't know this was the case. It's currently included in PS Plus Extra, so I can just download it. But if you've never wanted to, to buy it at full price and you want to try it out, it's on sale for $15 right now. It's got an 82%. Come on. Listen to what I'm saying. You don't have to like it, but to act like the most commercially successful Assassin's Creed game sucks and all those people that bought it are what? Just a bunch of dumb suckers. I'm like, okay. Edge of Memories, a new JRPG, just got announced for PS5, Series X, and Steam, with veterans of Chrono Trigger, Nier, Xenoblade, and Final Fantasy working on it. You can wishlist this now. This just got announced. Oh, sorry. I thought I was already playing. The only controversial opinion I have on AC was that Odyssey wasn't an Assassin's Creed game, still a great game. I don't think that Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey, or Valhalla were meant to be traditional Assassin's Creed games, and I think that that's okay. I think that that's okay. Like, I don't think they were meant to be traditional Assassin's Creed games. It's why I liked Origins. It's why a lot of people, their favorite is Odyssey. A lot of people, their favorite is Valhalla. And I think that that's okay. Okay, this art style is really cool. You see some gameplay? There we go. We're seeing more and more of this now. People are sort of taking inspiration from, I think it's from Hades, honestly. I think it's from Hades. Like, they're building their action and their JRPGs with a camera that feels more fixed like an isometric, but not quite. I would say once they're in the game, I didn't see anything that looked that groundbreaking. It's kind of falling in that art style. That's called Edge of Memories. That game is called Edge of Memories. It sort of feels like that Unreal Engine art style that we've been seeing in a lot of games. So, player vote is king, not outlets. So in Game of the Year, you think you should always just let the players vote? Here you go. Here you go. Yeah. Player voice nominees for the Game Awards: Black Myth, Genshin, a DLC, Zenless Zone Zero, and Wuthering Waves. Yeah, really good to put it in the hands of the public. You said that ages ago? Well, somebody's catching up with you. Spice King's catching up with you. Yeah, this is what I want. I want Game Awards every year full of gacha, mobile, monetized slop. That's what I want. I would love for that to constantly be at the top of the vote as entire regions vote for those games and the rest of the gaming world is like, what the frick? Like, yeah, that's what I want. I want my Game of the Year nominations to be gachas because that's good for the industry. And a DLC. What dad joke won? Why did the farmer decide to take up music? Why did the farmer decide to take up music after a very big harvest? Because he had a lot of sick beats. Yeah, that beat my burrito joke. I thought my burrito joke was gonna win, but when he dropped his sick beats answer, I was like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yep. Yeah, it beat my burrito joke, man. DLC and Game of the Year is a joke. Yeah, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? As you said, just because you don't like it. But other than that, Elden DLC and Genshin, those were all great games. Okay, but Kage, do you really want that to be the representation every year? Like, hyper, super popular gachas? You want those to be the games that get voted for every year? Because that's all it would be. It would be Call of Duty, and then Asian region gachas would be at the top every year if it was always up to the player voice. That would be stupid. That wouldn't be the Game Awards. That would be like, what's the most popular mobile MOBA in China this year? It'll be up there every frickin' year. What's the most popular gacha in Asia right now? It'd be up there every frickin' year. You wouldn't want that to be your Game of the Year nominees and how you do it. That would be stupid. It's not representative of the entire market, and it certainly isn't representative of like what games deserve Game of the Year nominations. You would have games like Elden Ring and Ragnarok and Red Dead. A lot of these games would get overrun. They'd get overrun. They wouldn't stand a chance. Some of the greatest games ever would not get nominated if you just let the players vote and you didn't put it up to a jury process of like actual, professional critics assessing quality of game and design and direction and art and all of that. You know what I mean? It'd just be like, oh, there's a really popular mobile MOBA in China that released this year. It'll win. It'll just win by default. Like, that would be dumb. Every category that Black Myth was in would have won. It would have won every category if you just let the players vote. So nothing else gets to win because you have more people in your country that are a fan of this game. Like, come on. You can't let it be dictated that way. Players will complete the game and enjoy it, unlike outlets that have to rush a lot of the games and give a score or walkthrough. That's why players' vote is better. I mean, you're not engaging with anything I'm saying, and you're also being incredibly sweeping, broad, and reductionistic. So you think the people that reviewed Kingdom Come Deliverance didn't play it enough when virtually every review of Kingdom Come Deliverance talked about the ridiculous amount of hours they put into their game? What about Monster Hunter Wilds? A lot of the people that play these games have them for 2 and 3 weeks, and they pour copious amounts of hours into them. Now, are there some review outlets that play quickly and don't give great analysis? Yeah, that probably happens. But the entirety of the gaming world that gets early access to a game to review it, you think they fall into your very, like, reductionist position that, like, well, they don't even really play it like the players do. Like, yep. Players will also vote something down if it's too hard. Look at Lies of P and the score it got on Xbox versus other platforms. A bunch of people played it on Game Pass and gave it a bad score. You see, here's the problem, Chris. Your presumption is completely unfounded and just naive, and it's just stacked on ignorance. You're going to let a bunch of people vote that didn't finish the game either. How many people would get to vote against a game like Lies of P because they didn't even finish it? They got 10 minutes in and said, this sucks. I don't like this. They played it on Game Pass. They got their butt kicked and they uninstalled it. And you're going to let those people vote too? You're assuming that every single person that votes finished games and rolled credits on games. That would be silly. It would be absolutely silly. You'd have people voting for games that they live in and are addicted to because they can't stop pulling for better gotchas in Genshin, and then they wouldn't vote for good games because they didn't finish them or didn't like them or they were too hard. We'll be on Ghost Ship Game Stream today to play the latest of Guntouchable's demo. Guntouchable's demo from and published by Ghost Ship. I love Ghost Ship Publishing. So they've got a new game coming. They're going to be showcasing it today as part of the Steam Next Fest. Guntouchable's got a Next Fest demo here on Steam. Co-op doomsday shooter, fast blasting roguelike. So is it an auto shooter like? I think this looks like an auto shooter like Vampire Survivors. $5 super chat tip from Siryu, and he does it. He makes it rain confetti. Thank you so much, Siryu. I will read your super chat in just a moment. I will gift a member. I now owe a member. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's called Guntouchable. Siryu says, we need a Gooner Awards so the Goshes can get their flowers. Yeah, and Stellar Blade as well. Here, I'm going to bump the line by 1. You guys can use the super chats to make me contribute to the count. We are now a 20 bomb away from 150. We'll see if that sets up and baits anybody to drop the biggest member bomb of the day. And I'm paying it forward from the super chats and gifting a member to others. The player's vote would only work if they post their Steam name, Xbox or PSN name, and prove that they completed it. Okay. You're asking for the impossible. You're asking for a logistical system that will never exist. Like, there's just no way. And there's plenty of people, there's plenty of bot farms and places that would completely juice the number. Entire studios and publishers, I mean, come on. A publisher desperate enough for the notoriety would quite literally juice the numbers with bots. They would have bots completing the game and rolling credits and creating accounts. You better believe they would. It wouldn't be difficult. All you would have to do is generate a bunch of free codes for the game like they do for review outlets. And then they would distribute those codes to these bot accounts that aren't real. And then they would have the bot accounts roll credits on the game. They could probably even trick it and give them a version of the game where they boot it up and it auto-completes. That kind of shenanigans would happen almost assuredly, dude. Like, no. The system works perfectly fine. The only reason people want the system to change is because their favorite game didn't win. If your favorite game won, nobody would be talking like this. Nobody would be talking like this. It's because everybody thought Black Myth Wukong was some cultural message and some middle finger to the wokies, and it wasn't. And because it didn't win, everybody wants to claim some kind of conspiracy, or the game got blacklisted, or just, I don't know. Go outside and look at the sunshine or something. People need to get out. It just, Jiminy Christmas. The system is broken right now. Can you explain to me why it's broken? Wasn't there a guy who bought his music and made money that way? Maybe. What's broken? What's broken about it? I need you to break down for me what is broken about the jury process and the number of people that get to vote. You don't find it strange that commonly the highest rated games are up there? The highest rated games win? That's just a coincidence? You think that somehow doesn't work? IGN has most of the gaming outlets in the votes. Okay, so in recent years, IGN has purchased some outlets, and you think because they've done that, they can sway the votes? How many votes do you think that they get? With IGN now owning a number of outlets, how many votes do you think they get out of the, it's 100 something? I don't even know what the total jury process count is. I thought it was closer to 200, but I think it's lower than that. Have you done the research? Because again, it sounds like you're just saying things that you haven't really done the research into. So have you done the research and you've looked into the number of IGN votes that they get versus the number of votes that are cast, and have you crunched the math and seen if they can sway things or not? It's one vote for a company, right? That's what I heard from Kinda Funny. Okay, so IGN. How many outlets does IGN own? How many votes are cast total? And how much could they actually sway the vote? Have you crunched those numbers? Because if you haven't, then the burden of proof on your argument rests on you to do that. IGN use their power to help a game they want to win in their favor. Okay, so let me ask you something, Chris. You think IGN helps games win by using their power. Okay, let's kind of track the history of IGN for the past 12 months, as they have lied about PlayStation a number of times. Their chief editor has a very clear bias against PlayStation and commonly completely misrepresents PlayStation, obfuscates and makes things up like Black Myth was money-hatted by PlayStation. So IGN, the outlet that wrote a hit piece about Black Myth and claimed that PlayStation had a money hat and they're kind of anti-PlayStation, they use their power to, track with me here, ensure that a PlayStation exclusive could win. Wow, that's dizzying logic. A platform that has shown a consistent bent and bias against PlayStation set up everything last year so that Astrobot could win? Wow. That's something. That is something. They're really messing up the Game Awards. You can't demonstrate your point. Only thing that happened was IGN has a journalist or a blogger. I don't know what her official title is. They have a blogger by the name of Rebecca Valentine. Rebecca Valentine wrote a egregiously written, poorly researched hit piece on the Black Myth Wukong devs. Okay, it was abysmal. It was terrible. She also wrote a puff piece for Bungie and helped Bungie cover up their own misconduct back in the day when they basically were dealing with having to make people quit. They were basically making people sign NDAs, and there was retaliation culture well in place. And she wrote a piece that helped Bungie look like the heroes in the situation when they're the villains. So you have an issue with one person who I don't think has a great track record of writing good pieces for IGN. And you're acting like, well, IGN then wielded their power to ensure that Black Myth couldn't win. But IGN has written, I think, more, negative slanted pieces and headlines against PlayStation. The last thing they would do is ensure that Astrobot would win. They wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have. Like, I don't think your theory has any merit. IGN has shown a complete, disregard for the truth and accuracy when it comes to PlayStation. They misquoted an earnings call last year to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt about the PS5. They have astroturfed their asses off for Microsoft for the past couple of years, trying to make it seem as if Xbox is better, trying to make it seem as if, well, PlayStation's already entering its latter stages. Lie. False. They never said that. You misquoted their earnings call, and you got community noted on Twitter for it, and so you reposted it. And then recently, they claimed that both PS5 and Xbox sales were plummeting, and then 2 days later, reports came out that PlayStation had one of their best quarters yet. I don't see evidence of IGN disrupting the Game Awards and the voting process. I see no evidence of that. It doesn't stand to reason. IGN is a subsidiary. They don't control the other outlets. Yeah, I don't think IGN is dictating what these other outlets are saying and what these other outlets are voting on. I really, really don't think so. Astrobot wouldn't have stood a chance if that was the case. They would have made sure IGN Astrobot review. What did they give? They gave it a 9 out of 10. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. Even IGN, the outlet that's been consistently anti-Sony, gave it a 9 out of 10. I don't think they're corrupting the Game Awards. If they would have tanked Astrobot and been cheering for some other game, and then that other game won, you might have a case. But it's like, there was universal praise for Astrobot. And even they gave it a 9. If IGN was swaying the votes, we would have seen an Xbox game on the podium. Yeah, they would have made sure something else was up there. Astrobot winning proves they have good people voting. Yeah, it's really hard for me to accept that, there was universal praise for Astrobot during the previews, during the reviews, and then it wins Game of the Year, and then it wins Game of the Year at DICE. And it won some surprise awards even at the Golden Joysticks. It's like, to act like, oh, the process is broken and IGN's breaking the process and ruining it. I don't see any evidence of that. And trust me, I'm all about exposing bad gaming press practices. I'm all about drawing attention to, to malfeasance. I have no problem drawing attention to stuff like that. No problem at all. But I don't see any evidence of it here. If I thought there was clear and present evidence of wrongdoing there, I would 100% be looking into it and talking about it. And I haven't seen a single shred of evidence that there's some kind of corruption at the Game Awards. Every year now for the past couple of years, I've almost not 2024, 2023. I perfectly predicted all the Game of the Year nominees, and 2024 I predicted the winner. I was like, it's gonna win. I think people are forgetting just how universal the praise was. Before finding you, Lono, I couldn't have told you what any rating was for any game. Never cared. I just play what catches my attention. This sort of conversation brings back memories of the Xbox tax. IGN gave almost every crappy Nintendo game 10 out of 10. 100% scumbag journalist. Yeah, and the rest of the gaming press has given high praise to those same Nintendo games, Googly. You're just, for whatever reason, you just hate Nintendo. Your hatred for Nintendo is irrational. It's just irrational, dude. It's not factual. I'm saying most people don't care about the game award results. It's just for the industry to pat itself on the back. Are you sure about that? Because Astrobot won Game of the Year, and it jumped from 8th place on the monthly sales charts to 5th place, and then stayed in 5th place in January. You don't think that people care about the Game Awards? Now, the vast majority of the gaming world, you could probably say, yeah, they either don't pay attention or don't watch, but a large enough percentage watches that it caused you mean the average gamer? Right, but again, I actually think the Game Awards gets higher viewership from the gaming populace than people probably think. I think that you get a pretty good chunk of the gaming world. It's like, I'm watching that every year. To them, it's their, it's the Oscars for gaming. It's the Oscars for gaming. It's a big deal. I think a lot of people watch. Gaming is better than Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, the viewership for the awards continues to climb. I mean, I don't think like the majority of I don't think the majority of the gaming audience is watching the Game Awards, but I think a pretty good chunk of people watch. I think a pretty good chunk of people watch. Do I have any pets? We have an outdoor cat. That's it. Why? What I'm really getting at is just a positivity pusher, and who wins is less important than the industry giving themselves props. It's just a positivity pusher, and who wins is less important than the industry giving themselves props, which is needed. Oh, you're saying it is needed. I was about to say, well, there's nothing wrong with some positivity out here, man. Didn't the Game Awards have record viewership this year? It did. It did. It continues to climb every year. I try to tell people that it was the biggest gaming the biggest gaming event of the year. And a couple of years ago, I told people, I said, this event's going places. This is big. This isn't like some little shindig in someone's home built studio. A quick look for the voting jury, says Paul. Ziff Davis, IGN's owner, controls 4 out of the 100 outlets, so they cannot control the winner by a long shot. There you go. Paul just went and did some quick research for us, and Ziff Davis, the guy who owns IGN, controls 4 of the 100 voting outlets. That's not enough to sway anything. That's just isn't. If all 4 of those outlets would have said, screw Astrobot, we're voting for something else, it wouldn't have affected the total. It's more than 4. Substantiate your claim with proof and evidence, or we don't care what you're saying. Supply proof and evidence, or I'll time you out for the rest of the day. You're not allowed to talk until you supply me evidence that it's more than 4. Provide me with the evidence that it's more than 4, or I'm giving you a 24-hour timeout. I'm no longer going to allow people to disrupt the conversation with claims and no evidence. That's my new standard. So go do the research, go use Google, and supply me. You're looking it up? Great. Supply me with the evidence to back your claim. My tolerance has hit a very low level lately. It has hit a very low level. I would like to know what they are and how they are all then owned by IGN, or in this case, his name is Ziff Davis. Looking it up after making the claim. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it, John? Yeah, right. Xbox is really weird right now, says that guy Chris, because they are giving away exclusives, but they bought so many studios. Any opinions on how this will go? They're going the route of a publisher because they bought more property, right? And that's what you do when you buy lots of property. So basically when they set their sights on ABK, I said that it felt like Microsoft was stepping into the room and saying, we're a software company, and the approach that we have taken with Xbox the last 2 gens has not worked for us. Xbox One, bad. Xbox Series X and S, bad. Didn't work, right? And I theorized. I said, Microsoft has stepped into the room and has said, we are taking a software strategy. The only way we stay relevant in the gaming conversation and in the gaming market is with lots of property. We're not going to maintain a presence here as a console or with hardware. And people thought I was out of my gourd. I got made fun of. I got attacked. I got called all kinds of nasty names and put in all kinds of videos, right? Because dishonest grifters can't make money any other way, right? So I said, they're turning into a publisher. It's obvious to me. And we looked at comments from Phil. We looked at comments from the CFO. We looked at comments from Satya. We were called dumb. We were told we didn't understand context, right? I'm sure some people agree with you. Well, people that are intelligent and honest agreed with me. Yeah. Intelligent and honest people agreed with me. Yeah. The people that either lacked the intelligence to see what was happening or they were just being willfully dishonest did not agree. And they continued to obfuscate and hide the truth from the public for the entirety of last year. And then they want to get self-righteous, right? Well, hit dogs bark. So if I say something and you don't like me saying it, then, like I said, a hit dog barks. So that happened all last year. So when you look at what they're doing now, the plane has landed. The plane landed. They spent $70 billion and they're like, yeah, we're basically a publisher now. You know what I mean? Like, all their promises about hardware, to me, I wouldn't take any of those to the bank. I wouldn't take any of those checks to the bank. I don't think you can cash those checks just yet. Something is coming with hardware. I don't think it's a traditional console. How do you win people to your hardware if you're not doing exclusives? And when Phil Spencer talks about winning people to their hardware, he talks about like features. He talks about like technology. I don't think they're going to do a traditional console. It's going to be some kind of a handheld or some kind of a hybrid or something. I do not think their assurances about hardware make any sense because they have consistently said different things. In one interview, Phil says, well, we want our hardware to win. We want people to pick our hardware. And then in the next breath, he's like, we're not trying to win anybody over to Xbox anymore. How are both of those statements said within a week's time and the Xbox loyal isn't like, which is it, Phil? Which is it? Do you want your hardware to win, or are you no longer trying to win people over to Xbox? I don't understand. They don't make sense. Now, you could say, well, the context of those statements was different. In one context, he was talking about publishing games into more places, and they're not really trying to leverage the software anymore to get people over to Xbox. Okay, fair made point. Then what was he talking about when he said he wanted their hardware to win? What was he talking about? He was talking about features and functionality, which to me means you're going to get something very, very different than a lot of people are expecting. Some type of a handheld or a hybrid, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what their aim is. All I know is, and I've said this recently. In times past, right? In times past, when they are saying different things and and Phil Spencer's contradicting himself, it means that plans are changing in the background. And so I think that's what he's doing now. I think he's saying things that sound like they're contradicting each other because I think the plans are changing in the back. Chris Davies says, Eurogamer, Game Industry, VG247, Rock, Paper, Shotgun, and they have shares in the Digital Foundry Push Square, Nintendo Life, outside of Xbox, Pure Xbox, and Time Extension, according to Forbes. Hate being dyslexic. So you're saying all of those outlets have a vote, is what you're saying. You're saying that, what's the number there? How many would that be? So you're saying Eurogamer, GameIndustry.biz, VG247, Rock, Paper, Shotgun, and then they have shares, so they don't own Digital Foundry, Push Square, Nintendo Life, outside Xbox, Pure Xbox. So they own 4. Paul says they don't all have votes. It sounds like you quite literally just substantiated the claim that was already made. Do they own those others? And do all of those outlets have votes? Rock Paper Shotgun is not doesn't seem to be listed. Well, hang on, it's alphabetical. Yeah, I'm not seeing Rock Paper Shotgun listed as a voting outlet on the official Game Awards website. Hang on. Let me see if I can search for... I don't know if these are searchable text. Yeah, it's searchable text. Yeah, Rock, Paper, Shotgun's not listed. Two Xboxes odds. So you just went and found an article that outlined what IGN either owns or owns shares in, and you were in here claiming that they get more votes and the system is broken, okay? So this is what's going to happen to you. You are taking a 24-hour timeout because I don't have any tolerance for people like you anymore. You come in, you disrupt the chat, and you get my attention with claims that are based on literally nothing. And when you go and do your research after the fact, because that's how you should do your claims, right? Make the claim first and then go and do the research after. That's brilliant. You would do great in college. You find that what you claim wasn't true. So stop wasting my time with your lies and your false claims. If you come in from here on out, if someone comes in here and makes a claim and they don't have the facts and the evidence, I'm going to say you can't talk until you go get the facts and the evidence. And if you can't find the facts and the evidence, then I'm timing you out for the whole day because you're disrupting chat with lies, and I am sick of it. Like a dad that's turning the car around. I'm over it. You guys come in here and do this all the time. And you get your clips and you get your little moments where I get frustrated and irritated, and you're eating up the rest of the community's time. So out of protection for them, respect for the people who support and come here every day, I'm not letting you guys do this anymore. It's going to be a lot harder to come in here and do this nonsense because it's like we're trying to have a better conversation, and we're trying to have a better formal of like a podcast talk show, and I'm just done messing around with you clowns that come in here with your false claims because you think that's the only way to get daddy's attention. Well, you've got my attention now, and that's going to be the result when you do it. And I guarantee you the loyal listeners will appreciate it because we're all fed up with you. Not just that person in particular, but the people who do it every single day. Glad he's finally putting his foot down on the BS. You should call out their gamer tag when they try to do it. Well, then they claim that they're being targeted and they'll get harassed if they share their gamer tag. So I don't genuinely do that. So what's good, Nitro? Maybe I'm just getting old, but doesn't your hardware win by having the best games? And if Microsoft is bringing all their games to other platforms like PlayStation, Nintendo, then how can they win? Yeah, let's talk about that, Christopher Burnett. That commonly gets thrown out there. People will say games should just be everywhere and you should buy hardware according to its power and its features. Let me ask you something. How do you get those powers, the power and those features to get shown off? How? Well, you typically work with the developers, right? You work with the developers. Well, how are you going to do that? What are you going to do? So let's say PlayStation with their PlayStation 6 has new technology, new things, right? And new methods of doing, I don't know, rendering, ray tracing, and blah, blah, blah. One of the best ways for them to show that off is with their first-party studios. They work in tandem. It's a happy marriage. I've told people this is a happy marriage, and you don't want to break up this marriage because it leads to really, really good games. Let's take a look at the Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Switch 2 is going to come to the market. They're going to have first-party games and first-party exclusives that were built for the Switch 2, and the features and the Joy-Cons and all of the reasons for you to buy the device. If you break up all those marriages and all those Nintendo games are going everywhere, and all these games are going everywhere, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose that relationship. You're going to have third-party developers, AA's, and indie titles saying, well, these guys are doing this, and these guys are doing that, and these guys are doing motion control, and these guys are doing augmented reality and VR, and these guys have haptics, and these guys have this. Well, where should we build our game? What technology should we tap into? I tell you what they won't do. They won't tap into most of it. They just won't. You're asking third-party developers to basically go to every platform and say, we're going to tap into all of the great new innovation that you've come up with. Do you see what the ideology, if it was any more bankrupt, it'd be Hooters, right? It's like, you might as well take that claim and just file for bankruptcy right now. There's nothing in the bank. It is an empty position because you're basically saying, hey, Nintendo and PlayStation and other hardware manufacturers, what we want you to do is spend research and development and invest in the technology and push things forward and do all of that, and then hope that developers want to come and leverage it and then not just ignore it. Same thing with Nintendo. You're going to invest all this R&D into the motion and the mouse and the cool things with the Joy-Cons, and you're just going to kind of hope that game devs have the bandwidth and the time to come and say, well, we're going to invest in that technology as well. The happy marriage is they are developing new tech, and then they get their property, their companies, the things that they own, the exclusives, to say, tap into this technology, and then the user benefits. So you want companies just to make amazing hardware. So like in their mind, like ideologically, the Switch 3 and the PlayStation 6 will just be amazing devices, and then the developers will just spend their time and their bandwidth and their money tapping into all of those amazing features on every single platform, and then you, the consumer, you won't have to spend any extra money. You can just buy one platform and get all of the games. And you benefit. You save money. How? By getting all these companies to spend more. It couldn't be a dumber equation. It's just dumb. It is dumb. Bandwidth of titles and projects and budgets are getting more and more and more expensive. And you're basically saying, hey, developers, I have a solution for you. Spend more money so that I don't have to. I don't want to have to buy another console. I don't want to have to buy another platform. I should be able to buy a PC or an Xbox or a PlayStation, and that's it. And I should be able to get everything. I should be able to get Nintendo games. And I should be able to get this, and I should be able to get that. Now, the question you have to ask these people is, do they ever go and lecture the thousands of indie titles that are only available on Steam? Do they? Do they ever go and lecture them about being anti-consumer? Are they harassing them on Twitter and telling them that they're mean and they're anti-consumer for only developing their game for the PC? I'm just curious. I mean, there are... Yeah, it's not even a question. It's not even a question. There are more exclusives on Steam than there are on PlayStation. There are more exclusives on Steam than there are on Nintendo. Where's the whining? Where's the crying? Where is it? Are you browbeating all these indie titles, all these AA studios who build their game for Steam, and that's it? Isn't that a problem? Isn't that anti-consumer? I can't believe they do that. I can't believe how stupid all these AA and indie titles are that don't know you can just make more money by putting your game everywhere. Don't you want to make more money? Isn't that what you want to do? It's that easy. It's that simple. Why are all these indie studios, why are all these AA studios, why are they so stupid? Why do they hate money so much? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. Why are the studios that work for Nintendo so dumb? They don't want money? I mean, I've been told you just make more money. All you got to do is make the game for all the platforms. It's that simple, guys. You know? It's just tired. It's not, there's no substance to it. There's nothing to it. It's so simplistic. It's so reductionist. You know what I mean? My daughter is adorable, and she's very empathetic. She's very compassionate. She's 11, and she hates that the world is run by money. She hates it because there are people that don't have any. There are people that are homeless. She absolutely hates it, and she thinks the solution is to get rid of money. And I can ask her 4 or 5 questions, and her position falls apart because she's 11. And I'm like, well, how would you pay for anything? I would give them this. What if they don't want that? What if you grow corn in your backyard and you're trying to give people corn to pay for, your groceries or gas in your car, and they don't need corn. They already got corn. What do you do? Like, you see what I'm saying? She's just very young and very doe-eyed, right? Yeah, she's ready to be a socialist, right? She's ready. And I'm like, kiddo, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, right? But that's what this feels like. I commonly feel like I'm dealing with like an 11-year-old that's just like, well, just put the games everywhere and you'll make more money. What? No. You put the games everywhere, and then people can buy the systems according to how good the systems are, how strong the systems are, the features and functions on those systems. Really? You think all these games are going to tap into those features and functions if they're no longer actually beholden to the platform and in some kind of exclusivity deal? They're just going to do it because they want to, because they like to? So what you want is, you want the studios to spend more money, you want the production lines of the companies to spend more money so that you can spend less. Got it. You're like my daughter who thinks that money's bad and we should just get rid of money. You've got the doe-eyed sentimentality of an 11-year-old. Congratulations. Like she can be a trader but beat out the Walmart. Has she learned what capitalism is yet? You're going to be annoyed and proud when she gets old enough to argue you down. Oh, I'm sure her and I will have passionate debates when she's older, because she's very smart. She's very smart, and she probably will. She probably will get on a wavelength of like, yeah. Oh, I thought we had more news. Never mind. It's just the same stuff that I've already seen today. I thought my feed was refreshing, and it wasn't. Like on Twitter, sometimes it acts like it's refreshing, and it's not. To be fair, nothing wrong with consumers wanting to spend less and getting more, but companies ultimately do what is best for them. That's precisely it, Mash. That is precisely it. Do you honestly think that these indies and these AA's are just like too dumb to figure it out? Why do they put their game on Steam and that's it? Why? They don't want to make more money? That easy money from just making a game for everywhere? The games that enter exclusivity deals with PlayStation? The games that historically entered exclusivity deals with Xbox? Like, they don't want money? Do we know how someone downloaded AC Shadows from PlayStation? I can understand the physical and how that happened, but not from the PlayStation Store. Has that been verified that somebody actually did it, or is somebody faking the footage? It might. I've not seen it. It could be fake. It could be fake. I've only seen reports of the physical releases being distributed early, and people are playing the non-patched version of the game. Do people honestly think these studios are going to spend more money optimizing ports for various pieces of hardware and not put the cost onto the consumer? Roger, see what I'm saying? Do you see what happens when you talk to people who have just like a very moderate amount of understanding about what companies do? I remember when I worked at AT&T the one year, and they were like, we'll pay the fine. Like, AT&T literally said, we'll pay the fine. It was cheaper for them to pay the fine than to do whatever the new mandate was. It was something with health insurance. I'm not going to get into a political discussion with any of you. We're not doing that. But AT&T was literally like, we'll pay the fine. And then, when it started going another direction, I said, oh, I know what AT&T will do. They'll just stop hiring people full-time. They'll hire them part-time and make them work 30 hours. So then they can avoid it that way. And they did. Like, What do you think these companies are going to do? They're going to pass off the expenses to you. Well, our games should just be everywhere. I hope you like buying games for $100 because they're going to pass off the expenses onto you. They're not just going to do all this and be like, well, we did this out of the kindness of our heart. That's why we need these companies to be regulated. Yes, because that always drives costs down for the consumer. Garrett. If there's one thing that saves the consumer money, it's when you overregulate the companies. That's always helpful. You start making them do things, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, that's great. We'll just lay people off. You're going to threaten our margins? You're going to threaten our share value? That's fine. You want to pass that bill, you want to pass that law, you want to regulate us, and you want to make that a new rule, that's fine. We'll just lay off a couple thousand people. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. These companies aren't ever going to take any of this lying down. They're not going to take it lying down. They're going to be like, that's fine. No, yeah, we're okay with less money. We're okay with less profit. We're okay with our share value going down. That's perfectly fine. They'll find a way. They'll find a way. They'll outsource. They'll move factories out of the country. They'll do something. They'll do something. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. We'll pass the cost on to the consumer. We'll lay people off. We will make our money. That's what they're going to do. That's their function. Am I defending it? No. That's the reality. That's what these companies are always going to do. We shouldn't take it lying down either. No one's taking it lying down. No, what do you mean? No one's taking it lying down. How are you going to fight it? The only thing you can do as a consumer is give money to the companies that are giving you the value and the products that you think are worth it, and don't give it to the companies that aren't. That's your only power in the equation. You have almost no other power in the equation, other than your voice. You can speak your criticisms, of course. Lono, off topic, it'd be interesting to see you have developers join the stream one day and talk about game dev stuff. Maybe they're unique indie game devs. You could interview 1,000 indie titles and ask them, why is your game only on Steam? You're advocating for it? Where have I advocated for it? Where? Do you know what the word advocating means? I'll tell you what. I'll save you the trouble since the other guy didn't want to do this. Going to Google is hard. Advocating is to publicly recommend or support. Am I recommending or supporting this and saying that it's good? Agreeing? No, I've never once said that I agree with it. Never once. I've said that the companies will always respond in a way that is self-protective, and it then ends up hurting the consumer because they'll either pass on the cost to the consumer or they'll lay people off so that when you go into the restaurant or the retail store, there's less people working. You just Game Pass for it? Oh, you're one of those. Oh, okay. So you don't watch my content and you come in and falsely summarize. Great. Thanks for stopping by. I don't want anybody to ever give money to you ever again and get it gifted. So you're done here. Guaranteed that you are not here in good faith. I have never once dissed Game Pass for that. I have simply said that Game Pass promotes a culture of non-purchase, and when you do that, the consumer doesn't value games in a way where it makes sense to purchase them. And people bragged for years about, we don't buy games. They're doing it right now. They're bragging about the fact that PlayStation's getting Xbox games, but yeah, we don't have to buy them. Y'all are over there buying them. That's literally the culture that they fostered. So, and I don't want you to get another gifted, because I know you're on a gifted. Jack Garland with a $5 super chat. Phil wants Xbox console to succeed, but he doesn't want to put forth the effort to make it happen. As a chronic underachiever, I totally get it. This Game Pass, Brother Lono pays for Game Pass. Yeah. What's incredible about my opinion on Game Pass is I'm nuanced, right? And people that don't have the ability to think in nuance, they don't hear this. They hear when I go and I say positive things about Game Pass, it's like their ears shut off. I'll say Game Pass is still one of the best values in gaming. PC Game Pass is probably the best deal right now because it's only $11.99 and you still get day and date. $20 for Ultimate is worth it if you're going to be basically playing all of those big games. Now, if you're only going to be playing one or two, it's actually cheaper to start buying the games instead, and then you're actually building a library. So I'm nuanced about how the Game Pass, the value of Game Pass is still quite good. It's even stronger in certain pockets and certain subscription thresholds. But I can also say it fostered a culture of non-purchase. It worked against sales. That's not me dissing Game Pass. And let me just make something abundantly clear. Game Pass is not a member of your family. So when I'm critical of it, it's not a person. It is not a neighbor or somebody that you should love or care or protect. It's a freaking subservice. It's a subservice. And me being critical about what it did and the culture that it fostered and what it did to the Xbox consumer, I'm being critical of that. It ain't your girlfriend, bro. It's a subservice. Man, Disney's really raising their prices. How dare you talk about my favorite subservice like that? I will duel you at dawn, sir. And they slap you across the face. That's how some of you guys act. It's freaking weird. Who the frick cares if I'm critical of Game Pass? Who cares? I was critical of the PSN requirement on Steam for PlayStation. Nobody acted like I insulted their wife and came in here and got mad and said, yeah, you're out here dissing PlayStation. Nobody did that. You're taking your identity from something that it's a subservice. If I ever saw a friend of mine say that he was eating good on Netflix and was spending his days defending Netflix on Twitter, I would probably slap him and be like, why are you being a loser? But people do that for Game Pass, buddy. Good night. What are you doing? It's just a subservice, man. Like, I've been critical of it because I think they made a bad judgment call. And listen, I was one of the ones who said they could be the Netflix of gaming. I thought they were a sleeping giant. I thought Game Pass was a smart play. And then I started looking underneath the hood. And I was like, I think y'all made a big mistake here. In the words of Colin, be careful there, Icarus. You're flying too close to the sun. Don't ever be critical of Netflix. For the next month, instead of renewing my membership with money, I'm giving you this original piece of artwork. Copyright ownership. When an artist creates this work, they automatically hold the copyright, meaning they have exclusive rights to reproduce, distribute, and display the artwork. I hereby transfer 100% of the rights to this original piece of Reforge Gaming YouTube channel. I am not sure the exact value, but for legal purposes, I would contact your insurance company and have the works appraised. Thank you, Hilly. People need to realize that your vocal complaint means nothing to the company. Your only voice in the consumer equation is your purchase or non-purchase. Pretty much. Yes. Yes. And when I push back on folks that are like, well, they should regulate it, or they should force these companies to do it, or, yeah, these companies should just take on the cost of putting their games everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, and they'll likely pass on those expenses to you, or they simply will cut corners. They simply will cut corners, and they will not invest in the new technology. They will not invest in the cool new things that all the platforms are doing because it's extremely expensive, and they're going to do everything they can to keep their costs down. So you're not exactly, to me, you're not exactly going to win as the consumer. So that's what people always forget here. I'm actually taking up for the consumer in this equation because I want the consumer to get a good product. And you want the consumer to get a cheap product. There is a distinct difference. The irony in this discussion and in this debate, as this ongoing evolution of the gaming industry happens, the irony is the people that advocate for cheap gaming, they're the ones that are anti-consumer because you're more concerned with saving a buck than getting a quality product. And when you hyperfixate on that, what do you get? When you're worried about that, you're going to get companies to prioritize around that hierarchy. The hierarchy of, I want to spend as little as possible. Okay, great. Do you want to know what businesses are going to do when that's how you posture as a consumer? If you're operating underneath the hierarchy of, I just want to do a subservice and not buy games because I want my gaming hobby to be cheap, you're going to get games that focus on cadence over quality. And that, my friend, is anti-consumer because you're basically getting just a bunch of MVPs, minimum viable products, to keep you on the subservice. And I'm saying I want the devs in the studios to make as much money as possible so they reinvest it in the studio so that I get a better piece of property. And the best results I've seen have come from games that were built by first-party PlayStation studios for the PlayStation first and then ported to PC later, because the quality of the product matters more than how cheaply I can get it. So you're anti-consumer, not me. You're willing to accept slop or incomplete games or broken games because, well, you didn't spend that much money. It's cheap. And I'm saying I'm willing to spend money, and the reason I'm willing to spend money is I want the product to be at the best possible quality there is. It's anti-consumer to say, well, we're going to give as little as we can, and in turn, you're going to get what you pay for. I don't think that's pro-consumer at all. I think that's just pro-frugality to a fault. You're being so frugal and you're so focused on saving money that you're actually cutting off your nose to spite your face. It's like you're actually corrupting your own aims. It's far better to have these developers equipped to build the best possible game. That matters more. That matters more. I want developers equipped to build the best possible game. I don't care about saving money. I don't care about putting the game in more places so they can quote unquote make more money. I want the best possible game they can make. And if there's an equation that sets them up to do that, whether it's timed exclusivity or exclusivity or maybe just dual exclusivity, like, well, we're going to do console exclusivity but also publish on PC like in the China Hero Project. If the devs are set up to make the best possible product, then that is pro-consumer, because then your money gets the strongest return of value to the dollar. That's pro-consumer. I've been telling people for years that subscription services like Game Pass and Netflix, etc., are anti-consumer and bad for both industries, but both people don't seem to care anymore. Yeah, I mean, I think being frugal is fine. I think trying to save money is totally fine, but you can take any principle too far. You can take any principle too far. You could take the principle of, we want to build the best game possible. You could take that too far, and then the game takes 10 years to make, and by the time it comes out, either nobody wants it, it's taken too long, it's been in the oven too long, industry standards have changed, desires of the industry have changed, right? You could take that principle too far. You could say, yeah, we want to build the best possible game, and you could take way too long to develop it. You're being like a perfectionist. You can take, I'm trying to save money, too far. You can. Even when my family wasn't doing well financially, we still never bought Game Pass, because what happens if you can't afford that next month? Yeah, you lose everything. You're not building a library. Lono listened too much to the Sven Vinky rank on the Game Awards. I mean, I'm not even trying to, parrot what he said. I'm just saying what I've said for a long time. You're out here claiming to be pro-consumer, and you're not. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of the false saviors and the paper champions out here just saying nonsense, and then I get villainized because I'm like, no, I want the companies to make tons of money. That's good for me when they make tons of money. Oh, boo-hoo! I had to spend $70 for a game. If they make tons of money, good. Like, I'll get more games to buy. You're simping for remasters. What? Who cares? If I think it's valuable and good and it's going to make more games come to the market, then who cares? Why do you care if I like the fact that a remaster's coming? Libraries are overrated. I used to think like that. Not anymore. Dusty shelves full of games I'll never play again. Disagree. I still think building a digital library is incredibly important, especially now that we're at the threshold of performance that we're getting in games. Like, my son's going to play Ghost of Tsushima in, like, I don't know, maybe 6 years. I'm going to have him play it, and he's not going to think it looks like crap. When my kids finally get to play through, like, The Last of Us, or, like, games like God of War, they're not going to be like, oh, this looks like crap. They're not going to think that. The level of threshold that we're getting in performance in games right now, I think now is the absolute best time to be building a library. I do. Because I think these games are going to age far better. I believe that. I think the games being made right now and being shipped right now are going to age better than games from 10 years ago. And the further back you go, the harder it is for them to age. Like, I think Horizon Forbidden West is going to age incredibly well. I think in like 6 years, if one of my kiddos is playing that on a PlayStation 6 backwards compatible, I think they're going to be like, this still looks great. It still looks and feels great. I think it'll age better. Like, in general, I think we have hit a threshold that you're not going to see like this dramatic shift and turn where we're going to turn around on like PlayStation 6 and be like, oh my gosh, the PlayStation 5 games look so bad. I think they're going to be so much closer. When your son asks if he should kill or spare Jin's uncle, what are you going to tell him? I'm going to tell him that he needs to do what he must. You must do what you must. Do what you feel is right in your heart. I'm going to let him make his choice. Graphical fidelity is reaching peak. I don't know if it's reaching peak, but I just don't think the leaps will be as big, and that's why I think games are going to age better. Uncharted 4 still a masterclass in game development. Yeah, you can play Uncharted 4 right now on PC or on your PlayStation 5. It gets a performance bump on PS5, right? Doesn't it? Like, it is such a good game. I remember when I played it way back in the day, that was my only gripe, was the frames per second. That was my only gripe. You know? Guys, if you haven't already, we're still going. It's 3 hours, but we're still going. Make sure you hit the like button. We're a little off pace. We need to end the day at 200 members. So if you haven't renewed your membership, click the little dollar sign at the bottom of the chat and see if you have a membership renewal, or you can gift some members, or you can upgrade. We are calling on people to upgrade, and it makes room for others. It's $1 more compared to member light. A member light and a member plus. The only difference is $1. Nearly. Oh, a private jet. Wow. Well, thank goodness they didn't. Looks like they nearly collided. I read that as that they did. I tell you what we should probably do. I'm going to give you guys 20 minutes to get 20 members. I'll let you extend. I'm going to call it at 2 o'clock, and we're going to go to the green room. But if you want to extend the stream, I will let you. Lately, you guys have been extending the stream, and we turn it into like a members-only AMA, and you can submit questions and ask me like non-gaming questions. And I got a question today from Petrov that said, what do you think about the God of War remaster? I am not interested in games that are that old only being remastered. I want a remake. Like, if right now you let me play, one of my all-time favorite games from back in the day, Time Splitters 2. If you're like, oh, you can play it remastered, I would be like, I don't really care. I'd play it for a few minutes for the nostalgia, and then I would stop. You can feel the oldness in it. I just can't do it. Is this it? Yeah, that's it. Sam renews a VIP, and that moves the member count by 1. We now only need 19 members. It's a member a minute. You guys can do that. Thank you so much. You could either gift, upgrade, or celebrate your renewal if you have one. So, yeah, I need it to be remade if it's that old. Right? Melrose Mike with a VIP. Thank you so much. Like, that's why I was advocating recently for, like, grab games that are, you know, like Control, and do like a remaster or a PS5 Pro patch or something. Like, they were so close to the era of time that we're in now. Like, they were almost ahead of the game, right? You know, God of War 2018 was so close to this time period, and you can see the big leaps in God of War Ragnarok. So to me, it's like, if you're going to do a remaster, grab something more recent that is so close, like Days Gone, and make it look really pretty. If you're going to go back further than that, dude, remake it. What are we doing? A 5-bomb from Angry Pete. He says, come on, boys, let's extend. You guys have not extended the stream for a while, and you're now 13 away from extending. Thank you so much, Angry Pete. PS3 era and older only remakes, not remasters. That's what I'm saying. Like, all right, track with me here. Okay, track with me here. If I was in the room and I was on the board of the decision makers here, and I'm talking to, you know, PlayStation decision makers, and Super Gaming with the 10-bomb puts us on the doorstep, I should have aimed higher. I should have aimed higher on the extension. I should have said 200 so that we could get on pace for the week. Thank you, Super Gaming. You guys are nuts. I'm like, yeah, we just got to get to 150. And they're like, oh, is that all? Anyway, I'm a man of my word. We'll extend. So, if I was in the room, Sam's going to gift a member and get us to 148, and JC's going to gift a member and get us to 149. We're one away. Who's going to land the plane for 150? Thank you so much. This is what I would say. I would say we have approximately 20 to 25 million people that are brand new to PS5 and they didn't have a PS4. They're new to PlayStation, right? And Joker Quinn does it. 150. I owe you 5 more. You guys extended. Thank you so much. Okay, you guys did that in 2 minutes. Are you serious? and the Agent of Chaos is Super Gaming. There have been times where I'm like, you guys can extend, and you wait until the last minute, and today you're like, we're going to do it in 2 minutes, Lono. You guys are ridiculous. All right, anyway. Okay. If I'm in the room, and I'm like, listen, boys, you got 20 to 25 million people that are brand new to PlayStation 5. It's far better to give them a remaster of like a Days Gone or a Horizon, right? Or a Last of Us. They're more recent and they miss them. And these are high caliber games. These are good games. Some of these are award-winning games, okay? Not Days Gone, but the others. They're award-winning games. Do you want a brand new person to the PlayStation 5 ecosystem who, you know, missed the past? They're a new user. You want them playing a remaster of God of War 1? Do you think that's a good showcase of the device they just bought? Do you think that's a good investment? I'm just asking, you know? Well, there's a lot of long-standing God of War fans. Oh, okay. Are there 20 to 25 million of them that will willingly buy this and be really excited? I don't know. I don't think so. I think there's way more new users to be giving really good, you know, current gen level performance games and giving them a remaster of God of War 1. If PS5 has 25 million new users, why is the sales not trending above PS4? I still don't buy that number because you're misunderstanding it and you're making a false comparison, Paul. You're misunderstanding the number. They're getting new users as in people that didn't come from the PS4, and then they hit an MAU record of 129. So you don't need to buy it. It's factual. They have acquired new users, people who did not have the PS4. And the reason they achieved MAU record last quarter is because all those people that haven't switched over from PS4, they're still playing. And then a bunch of people who aren't coming from PS4, they're coming from somewhere, are buying PS5s. Just in the last quarter alone, they had over 4 million people, or close to 5 million people, or something like that, buy PlayStation 5 brands new that they're not from PlayStation. I think Fable got delayed so that they could do it as a multi-plat release, Ice Queen. Like, you're like, oh, it's trending behind, so how could they be getting new users? Paul, there's evidence that they got new users. Number one, they're not going to lie to shareholders. So now, basically, you're claiming, I don't buy the number. So they lied to their shareholders. And how do they get 129 million MAU? Where'd those people come from? They're getting new users. That's where. The point is, listen to me, Paul. Whether or not you buy it or not, I'm talking to the decision makers. And I'm going to say, you guys are reporting that you're getting people to buy PlayStation 5s who didn't have PS4s. It makes way more sense to give those people remasters of more recent games like Days Gone than to remaster God of War 1? Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Let's say it's not even 20 million, Polar. I think it's between 20 and 25 million, according to my own estimates. Because when they reported in 2023, they said roughly 30% of their monthly active users didn't come from PS4. Those are new people. Where'd they come from, right? That was like 17 million people at the time. That was the estimate. Based on the number of PlayStation 5 sold and them saying 30% of their MAUs on PS5 were not from PS4, it was like 17 million. And then the recent report is like somewhere between 4 and 5 million bought PS5 that are brand new to the ecosystem. That puts them somewhere between 20 and 25 million people, because the report about 30% was in 2023. It stands to reason that during 2024, they got more new people. So the estimate is somewhere between 20 and 25 million people are on PS5. You know, that are new. You say you aren't a pony, but you openly use phrases like Xbox refugee. How is that a pejorative? Do you know what that term means? I've referred to myself as a political refugee. I don't feel like I have a home. And there are people who feel like an Xbox refugee. I felt like one for a couple of years. You're interpreting that as a pejorative, maybe because a hit dog barks. You also created your account 4 days ago. You're pathetic. Like, stop. Like, you need to find a new hobby. You need to live a better life. If you were my kid, I'd be embarrassed. I'd be so embarrassed that this is how you choose to live your life. So, if you're trying to get these new users to buy things, I truly don't think, I really truly don't think that the number of people that are like, yay, I can't wait to buy a remaster of God of War 1, I think that group of people is so much smaller than the new users who would be excited to play like a remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn or Days Gone. In one instance, you're helping a new user build their current gen library. In another instance, you're doing fan service to a small group of people. I just don't think the group of people that would be coming out of their skin, like, what's the lifetime sales of God of War 1? Lifetime sales, God of War 1. What's the lifetime sales? What's the estimate? The series has sold 66 million. Okay, yeah. So according to this, the estimates are that God of War 1 sold under 5 million, God of War 2 about 4 million, Chains of Olympus 3 million, God of War 3 about 5 million. It's roughly the same size group every time. And then God of War 2018 sold 23 million. And then Ragnarok 15 million. Now this report was published at I don't even know when. I can't see the date of publish. They did a God of War collection in 2009. It sold 2.5 million. God of War Origins didn't even sell 1 million. God of War 3 remastered sold 4 million. Right? That's roughly the same number of people. That's roughly the same number of people that bought God of War 1, 2, and 3 every time. It was around 4 to 5 million. When they did a God of War 3 remastered in 2015, they sold roughly 4 million. It's the same group. It's the same group. So, if you do a God of War 1 through 3 remastered, dollars to donuts, you're going to sell about 4 to 5 million. Because people are going to look at the trailer and they're going to say, I don't know what that is, but that's not a current gen game. It's a remaster of really old games. So, do you want to make something that'll sell to roughly 4 to 5 million people? Now, PlayStation may be in the room right now saying, yes, we think that that's good. We do. My personal opinion is it makes way more sense to help that larger group of new people, 20 to 25 million, buy new games or remasters of more frequent games that are going to feel like a new game. They're going to feel like a current gen game. It just makes sense to me. It's like that you want those people building a library, because then when the PS6 rolls around, oh, you got them. You got them. They're like, well, I'm PlayStation now. Yeah, I've bought a ton of games this gen. You know, I just don't think the reception of something like that is going to be... Listen, and again, PlayStation may disagree with me. I've talked about this recently where PlayStation has their first-party studios, they have their second-party deals, and then they have their third-party deals. They have, like, multiple approaches. They may have multiple approaches to consumer loyalty, and one of those approaches could be, hey, we should be doing some fan service with the God of War stuff. We should be giving those fans a remaster of 1 through 3, and it's not for the player base at large on PlayStation. It's for that smaller group. I could be 100% wrong and off my rocker here, and they're like, no, fan service for roughly 5 million people we think is worth it. I think you have more chance of selling the remaster to your base than remakes to newcomers. Plus, the cost to produce is very different. Why do you think you have a greater chance of selling remasters of old games to more people? They're going to look old. They're going to look old. They're not like, you can only make old games like that look so pretty. You can't, again, if you're not remaking it. To me, I'm essentially arguing, if you're going to go back and grab God of War 1 through 3, they should be remakes. I'm in the tiny minority, but I think remastering the old games helps gain and maintain interest in a franchise. A lot of the time, I won't start a new franchise without a history. Who bought the Diablo 2 remaster? Diablo players. Right, but that's an unfair comparison because Diablo's lifetime sales... Isn't Diablo 2, like, lifetime is only 4 million? I'm thinking of Diablo 3. Never mind. Diablo 3 was the one that sold like an insane amount. I'm thinking of Diablo 3. Yeah, the Resurrected sold over 5 million copies. They basically sold to that group of people. They basically sold to the Diablo 2 fans. Yeah, it hit about 5 million. Now, at the point when they released Diablo 2 Resurrected at 5 million copies, I mean... Diablo was a Leviathan title. Like Diablo 3, the commercial success of Diablo 3 was insane. So I just don't know, because you've got such a larger base to sell to, and they still only sold 5 million or over 5 million. Diablo 3 set a record for like fastest selling PC game. By 2015, it had sold over 30 million. Like, you see what I'm saying? I don't know if God of War is at that level of fandom. I don't know. Like, God of War is pretty dadgum popular, but I don't know if it's that popular, Hilly, that you could be like, oh no, a remaster of God of War 1 through 3 is gonna sell really well. Like Diablo, 10 years ago, Diablo 3 had hit 30 million. So by the time they dropped Diablo 2, Resurrected, I think is what they called it. By the time they dropped that, they had a much larger fan base to sell to, and it still only sold about 5 million copies. Diablo 2 was a little more than a remaster. Yeah, it also is a difference. Yeah, the differences between Diablo 2 and Resurrected were probably a little more stark. I don't think remasters of God of War 1 through 3 will look... I just don't think they'll look that impressive. I am happy to be wrong about this. Right? What is this? Predator Badlands is coming. A new Predator movie. Coming November this year. God of War 3 already had a remaster. God of War 1 and 2 have re-releases. Yeah. I would love a remake of Blood Omen 2, Legacy of Kain. Probably won't happen, though. From the perspective of the Predator. Listen, I hope people, I really do, I really mean this. I hope if the God of War remaster thing is true, I hope people love it. I hope the consumer gets a great product. You know, I hope it's successful. I hope fans are very satisfied by it. I hope fans have a good time. I am not interested. I am just not at all interested in playing a game from that long ago that has just been made to be prettier. I'm not interested. I think I can... This is a personal thing. I can feel the age, right? Can feel the age in the game. I just can. And again, this is a personal preference thing. I just can't do it. I'm like, And I'm this way with Metroidvanias. I've told you guys this before. I'm this way with Metroidvanias. I'll be like, Axiom Verge is a good example. Everybody sung the praises of Axiom Verge, and I played it, and it felt rigid, it felt dated, it felt like an old game. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this. It doesn't feel good. You know what I just noticed about this alpha gameplay footage of Fable? What's interesting is they're reusing some of the shots from the trailer. This is a shot from the original, from the one trailer. Everything else is new. And you know what's conveniently absent now? The combat sequences from that trailer are gone. Like, I just realized, I was like, wait, that one shot is from the original trailer. Just one. There's just one shot, I think. This shot here. That's from one of the trailers. I think that might be as well. But the horse riding's new and the combat's new. If they were showing us genuine gameplay in those other trailers, I don't know why it would be absent from this. I think this is genuine gameplay. And I think it looks fine. But I think it proves what I was saying all along, that we were not getting real gameplay. We were getting simulated gameplay in those other trailers. You know, they had another trailer. They released some pre-alpha footage today, and they announced it got delayed. The game world looks great. Yeah, I think I am not at all saying that the pre-alpha footage looks bad, but I think it makes it very clear that the other trailer was simulated. Like, just compare. Like, let me go to it. Like, let's just do it. Like, it's night and day. It's completely different as far as the combat goes. All right, we got to find the spot. Yeah, so like, here's her walking around. Actually, I don't know if that shot is from this trailer. I think that one shot of her walking is also new. It might be new. Oh my gosh. Hang on, I'll report on that in just a second, Jaster. Could be a cutscene. I think all of the footage they're showing us today is all brand new. I do. I think it's all brand new. I don't know. Let's keep watching. Yeah. I don't know if any of it's repeat. The one shot of her in town I thought was repeat, but it's new as well. It's new. See, this is all simulated. I tried to tell people back then. It's so different than what they're showing us today. Man, I got so much hate and ridicule for that. I was like, it's not real gameplay, man. Like, and they're so quick too. It's so quick. Like, she does this, and then she does that. All right. Now, I want you to remember that. I want you to remember those shots, and then I want you to watch the shots in this. This is what they released today, and it says pre-alpha footage. Even her walking in the town looks different. Her walking there looks different. See? The camera angle's different. The fluidity's different. This all looks great. I'm not saying any of this looks bad. It looks great. But I'm here to tell you the new footage 100% proves me correct when I said what I said back then. I said, buddy, that is simulated. That's not real. They just look like finishers. That could be what it was, Paul. Like, whenever you do like a finisher and it's basically like sort of like a pre-rendered, you know, almost like a mini cutscene. That could have been what they were. I think the new footage looks fantastic. I do. But I'm like, this is exactly why I kept telling people that that's not gameplay, boys. That's simulated. You can see the difference. You almost immediately can feel it and sense it in the way she moves and the way she blocks. All right, we got breaking news here, boys. This ain't good. Warner Brothers Games is shutting down Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and WB San Diego, sources tell Bloomberg. Warner Brothers is also canceling the Wonder Woman game. Story coming shortly, but in the meantime, you can read my feature from earlier this month of what led to this. Dadgum. I knew that frickin' Wonder Woman game was cooked. I knew it was cooked. When they said it had been rebooted several times, I was like, oh, that game's frickin' done. It's too big of an IP. They'll get too impatient and they'll just kill it. It's too expensive. You can feel it. You can feel it in the air when you hear about a game of it with an IP of that size has been rebooted multiple times. You're like, oh, that's getting canceled. Like, you know it. You're like, yeah, that's getting canceled, boys. The sad part about this is all the studios getting closed. They're not like laying off a couple hundred people. They're shutting down frickin' studios, man. Monolith Productions made some great games. Yeah, that's devastating. Monolith Productions, Player First Games, WB San Diego. 3 studios. So let's look up the games that these guys have made. Monolith Production Games. The Fear games. Fear and Fear 2. They haven't made a game in a long time. Oh no, they did Middle-earth Shadow of War. They did Middle-earth Shadow of War. They were probably the one. Were they the ones working on Wonder Woman? Dang it. Dude, Shadow of War. I didn't like the Nemesis system, but the combat. Dude, the combat in that game was so dadgum good. Oh. Frick. They did Middle-earth. Did they do both Middle-earth or the second one? Wait. Monolith. They're the ones that created Nemesis? I thought they did just Shadow of War. Did they do both Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War? They did both? Player First Games. Oh, they were working on Wonder Woman, it looks like. Player First Games. Oh, no. Player First Games is Multiverses. I'm sorry. Player versus Games is Multiverses. Let's see what WB San Diego. Oh, looks like WB San Diego. Were they the ones working on the Quidditch game? I was really worried about that Quidditch game when I saw some of the footage. I was like, and I remember thinking, this is why they didn't do Quidditch in Hogwarts. Like, it's just not going to work. You know? Golly. Marvel Rivals review is basically just every character has a fat booty. Yeah, Mad Max. Mad Max is a really underrated game. I would love for Mad Max to get like a next-gen update. That's a solid little game. Well, not little. It's humongous, actually. That's a solid game. Kingdom Come Deliverance is The Witcher and Red Dead. This guy says it's Witcher Red Dead. It's kind of true. That's kind of true. But it's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. Your question about Kojima? No, I'll pull it up now. Do you believe Kojima gives us a release date for Death Stranding 2 at the South by Southwest event? No idea. No idea. I expect him to do some type of a deep dive, you know, and I don't know if he's going to do like new gameplay. They've already shown a ton. I'm not actually sure. Yeah. I tell you what, we're extending. I got to take a break. I got to take these glasses off. They bother me sometimes. They're too heavy. I'm not used to them. If I would wear them more often, I would get used to them, but they're giving me a headache. I like them because they're a different style, but I also need to get a drink. My water and my coffee aren't down here. I had like a dad function this morning with my kiddos. So do me a favor, stick around, don't go anywhere. This is the only time I run ads, and it does support me. Try to get us to 400 likes, and we want to hit 200 members by the end of today. That'll keep us on pace for the week. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Dark City says Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is so boring. These are my favorite glasses, by the way, from Gamer Advantage because they are light and weigh nothing. That's probably why I can't wear the bigger frames anymore. They're just so freaking heavy. Well, we certainly have a ton to talk about tomorrow. We'll probably go to the green room in the next 20 minutes. I'll extend again. If you guys get us to 200, let's see if you guys can go for 2 extensions today. You guys extended the last stream, or today's stream, in 2 minutes. So you got another 20 minutes to burn the member count down if you want. Dude, that freaking Wonder Woman game could have been so good too. Like Monolith's, combat system in the Shadow games, bringing that to, a character that's also melee based with a shield and a sword and a whip, and like she would have had aerial movement probably. Apparently, striking distance laid off people today. There was a great Schreier piece on Obsidian and the WW game. Oh, the Wonder Woman game, the details that change in direction. Guys, I got to recommend again, that frickin' Ender Magnolia game, I would skip right over Ender Lilies. Ender Lilies has got a lot of missteps, in my opinion, as far as combat flow. I fought a boss last night, and it was, like, perfectly challenging. Took me, I think, 3 or 4 tries. Really, really great combat rhythm, player volition, the iframes and the telegraphs. It's great. It was a really good fight. I liked it. Man, this game is a solid upgrade from the first game, quite a bit, to the point that like I said, I stopped playing the first one. It just I felt like they had made some significant mistakes that I couldn't eat around anymore. The spider boss. This is the guy I fought was the one who he would start swinging his thing around, like this chain thing around, and then he would slam, and then he had a phase. There was 3 phases, and then the phase where he would like go, these like lines would come up from the ground. That was like exactly the level of like design I like really well done. Oh, 3 phases. It was rough. Yeah, they all seem to have 3 phases. The dodge roll in Ender Lilies was so clumsy, she just fell forward. It was literally driving me crazy. There were so many times in fights where like I did not feel like I could get into a flow, and like Ender Magnolia is just head and shoulders. You talking about Bloom in the Mist? Yes. Ender Magnolia is just such... Ender Lilies was fine, but it just started to irritate me. I was like, this doesn't feel good. It went from feeling good to just not feeling good. Like if combat doesn't feel good, I check out. Ender Magnolia is, they give you the dash and double jump like 10 minutes into the game, and it completely transforms the experience. I'm like, this is what a Metroidvania should feel like. You couldn't get into Ender Lilies, and I really wanted to. Ender Lilies is fine. It's artistically great. It's very, very charming. But like I need a Metroidvania to feel really crisp and really good, and it just didn't. And Ender Magnolia feels very crisp, very responsive. Like it's what I want from a Metroidvania. So I'm very pleased that I gambled. I was like, it's really weird to like put a game down because you're not really enjoying it, and then to turn right around and buy the sequel. But I did some research, and Ender Magnolia was praised for things that Lilies did poorly, and I was like, all right, I'm going to gamble, and I'm going to buy this, and I'm so glad that I did. You prefer the levels of Ender Lilies outside of the lab. Magnolia has that crappy Crimson Forest, though. The map is really clear, though. I kind of liked it. I think that's where I am right now. It's like the pink and red forest with like all of it's like almost mazy. I actually like that. I like how the map is set up. Yeah, and they give you fast travel in Ender Magnolia. You can just fast travel anytime you want. It's great. Too much teleportation. Yeah, but it's mazy, and when you look at how they connect it all on the map, it's very, very clear. It's very, very clear. So I liked it. I thought the same thing. And I was like, this is getting kind of frustrating. I don't know where the frick I'm going. And then I looked at the map and I was like, oh, this is really easy to read. And I liked it quite a bit. Yep. Tomorrow's gaming news is going to be, very, very interesting. I wonder if my Fable PS5 upload will start getting traction because of this. I had a video about that is sitting. It's continued to pull up. Search is good. It might suddenly get a boost. Yeah, it just got a boost. It just got a boost at 11. Yeah, that might give it a little bit of a shot in the arm. Fable coming to PS5. The studio Monolith just celebrated its 30th anniversary last year and created classic titles like Fear, Condemned, and The Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Oh, I'm sorry. They just celebrated their 30th anniversary, and then they also created those games. That's right. If you guys haven't given any love to that Liza P video, we've been trying to push videos in the evening, and buddy, that one just got ignored. I thought we were kind of striking while the iron was hot. I saw people talking about it and thought, hey, let's push this out as fast as we can. Oof. That thing is just doing terribly. What's going on here? Okay. YouTube's being super, super weird. It's being very, very weird. Like, we've had some videos like, oh, it's starting to do better. Like our Borderlands 4 video all of a sudden got like a nice little bump. I was like, oh yeah, people are vibing with it. And then it flatlined again. They did that with our Avowed gameplay. I think YouTube's doing some funky things, and they're doing some funny things with the algo, and I'm not quite sure what they're doing. I think they're pushing out updates and recategorizing things, because I know you guys are getting weird results too. You're getting like old members content recommended to you on the homepage, so I think they're doing something funny. You love the Liza P vid? Well, I appreciate you watching it, man. Thank you. Made lots of changes to WB. Most of their comic book movies are being rebooted or got canceled. I think it's safe to assume the company name is the same, but the actual people who created those games are long gone by now. What company are you talking about? Are you talking about Monolith, Jake? Do you have evidence that they've had like lots of people leave over the years? Generally, people stay at these companies. You want to go gray in your 20s, just trying to understand YouTube's SEO. Yeah. We are definitely experiencing something that has been a little frustrating. It's like YouTube wants you to do uploads, but like I'm a live streamer, so I just continue to feel like that's just such a challenge to get an audience that responds to live streams to care about uploads. Like it's just such a difficult thing. You know, it's why guys with really big channels that do uploads, when they go live, they get like such little turnout. They're on the other side of the coin that I am, you know, and it can be very challenging. It can be very discouraging because you're like, I'm taking all this time, and I'm like, a lot of that time used to be dedicated to the monologue, like the opening monologue of the live show, but we felt like that content was better served as an upload. We're like, yeah, we're putting a lot of work into these monologues, and then they're attached to a 3-hour stream, you know? So to me, I was like, nah, yeah, it makes sense. Let's do it. And I've enjoyed doing it, but YouTube is just a strange beast, you know? It's a very strange animal. the user base is very particular as well. Like, people know what they like. If people are like, I like live streams, that's all they'll watch. Or if they're like, I like uploads, you know, that's all they'll watch. That's a very, very common challenge that creators face. Unless you're like Legendary Drops or SMT, upload on YouTube, stream on Twitch, get tons of views. Well, I mean, that's what I was doing when I covered Destiny, but we don't have that luxury anymore. When I covered Destiny, I full-time streamed on Twitch and I uploaded everything over here. And I didn't even have anybody in my corner. If I would have had somebody in my corner helping me like categorize and properly upload, my Destiny channel would have done a lot better than it did. I didn't know what I was doing. I never had anything titled or tagged well. You know? I didn't have any of that set up well. All right, in 9 minutes, we're going to go to the green room unless you guys extend. Somebody could pull out a victory for you, a miracle at this point. You need 50 members, well, 49. You need 49 members in 9 minutes. We'll see if anybody comes to your rescue. If not, we'll go to the green room and we'll kind of plan tomorrow's show. If you want to come with us to the green room, you need to be a paying member. And that means you need to be at Member Plus or VIP. You can do that right now. And we are super, super close, continually close to that milestone. Thank you to everybody who's continued to help with that. If you follow that streamer band's account on Twitter, sometimes you literally see the avatar of the person banned, and you're like, I wonder why they were banned. Like, they're half naked in their avatar, and you're like, I wonder what they did to get banned. It's a mystery, you know? It is a mystery. I wonder what rule they broke. Like, your avatar should be against TOS. Jiminy Christmas. You may never know. That's right. That's why I never started my own YouTube channel. I get discouraged too easily after seeing I have 3 followers and 0 views on my videos. Well, the thing that can be, you know, the thing that can be frustrating about it is if you have a couple of videos not do well, you almost get punished for that, right? So it's like, it's hard to kind of break out of that rut. And that was one thing that I think made us gun shy. And so lately I said, let's just take our shots. If a video doesn't do well, it doesn't do well. So be it, right? Let's just take our shots. But that can be dangerous, right? You can upload a lot of stuff and it just doesn't perform all that well, and then YouTube, you know, can kind of punish you for it. Our recent batch of uploads that we did, I feel like they performed fine. None of them were excellent. They were all fine. They were okay. But that Lies of P one kind of hurt. I was like, dang it. I thought that was a good topic to jump on, but I misjudged it, you know? I made a misjudgment on it. Because I thought, man, this is going to pick up. People are going to be interested in this, and yeah, no. And people don't think I'm right. They're like, no, that's not co-op. That's not co-op. That's, you know, that's probably just a companion, you know. When Lies of P DLC came out, probably heard it too. Came out late yesterday. Well, my video was based on the trailer that they released. It was basically kind of like a reaction trailer. What is this Metroidvania game? Wishlist now. Itash or Ytash. This looks pretty fluid. This looks pretty good. Reminds me, this really reminds me of Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown. I'll wish this that. Check it out later. Couldn't care less if it gets multiplayer or not. Yeah, you know, maybe my audience doesn't care. I thought Liza P was kind of beloved. I thought, man, this would be crazy if they added co-op, right? Or just a new mechanic. I think would be pretty exciting as well. You know, just a new mechanic. You add a new mechanic where like you know, this person can come with you. I think would be cool. You know. It would be very different than like the summonables in the base game. You know, like summoning someone in the base game to like help you. It would, to me, it looks like it would be very different than that. All right, 4 minutes. 4 minutes, and we're going to green room unless somebody brings the absolute heat in the next 4 minutes. We'll see. We'll see. We need to be on pace for the week to be at 200, and we will see if that happens. Lies Peeps, one of your favorite games. I argued and said that I felt like the critics got that one wrong. I thought it was a lot stronger than the credit they gave it. You know? All right, members only, member plus and higher, 2:30, schedule in the green room now. You guys got 3 minutes. If you got 3 minutes to upgrade as well, if you want to come with us, this is when we kind of look at all the gaming news, which we kind of already did today, and that's okay. But we'll kind of plan out what tomorrow looks like, and you get to be a part of that. Done and set. Let me set up redirect, and then I'll give you guys a link. What's going to happen with the Nemesis now? Well, sadly, Warner Brothers will probably retain the trademark. They'll probably retain the trademark, which means nobody can use the Nemesis system. I don't know if they would release. I don't think there'd be a reason to release it. You know, I don't know if you can sell a trademark. I don't know if that's a thing you can do. I don't even know if that's an option. I don't know if that's something that they would look into doing. I don't know if that's something that people would want to do. Another company would even want it, you know? I don't know if that's... Is there precedent for that? Like a company saying, like, we don't need this anymore, we'll sell it to somebody. I mean, that's possible, you know? That would obviously be ideal because people really liked it. It was a creative system, you know? All right, let me give you guys a link. Unless somebody pulls a buzzer beater in the next 60 seconds, we're going to the green room. I will spam a link in chat. Sometimes if redirect fails you, if you guys don't have a great track record with redirect, always make sure and just use the link instead of writing redirect. Monolith of all studios. Yeah. It's a pretty big loss. You know, you guys, they built Shadow Mordor, Shadow of War, and they were building the Wonder Woman game, and they gone. All right, there's a link in chat. If you want to come with us, consider upgrading. You can help us hit a nice big milestone. And hang on. Let me make sure this is set up right. Okay, it is. Hey, thanks so much for being a direct supporter to the channel. You are either at Member Plus or above, and some of you have upgraded recently or just continue to maintain that level of support, and we greatly appreciate that. It gives us a lot of power and a lot of freedom. YouTube world and the gaming world is unpredictable, so having people that kind of have your back, it means a lot. It really, really does. Those of you that have been generously gifting as well, we continue to just have really good results every week. That is also highly dependent on a couple of people, so that's one of the reasons we call on folks to upgrade. So thank you to the people that do. I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect folks over, and then I will change that